Hey, nobody's out there, right? Good. Anyway, it's 7:15 a.m. I'm trying to reset my life. Anyway, you shouldn't listen to this. I'm just going to ramble on for a little bit. I want to minimize this rambling to about 20 minutes max. But basically, I'm trying to arrange a new story in my head that works better than the previous story. I don't know. Basically, I don't want to do a lot of this ranting, but long story short, for the last 2 years, I was reading this spiel every day, and I was going to jujitsu and doing improv acting stuff, and basically neglecting I basically abandoned any hope for like a career or a girlfriend, and like basically I read the spiel every morning where I basically said like there's no soul, there's no God-given purpose, and you can just do whatever you can do, and it doesn't even have to be good. Like even if it's bad, like if you like it, just tell yourself it's good. There's some lame level you can do it at. Now, kind of, I guess what you could say was I was doing to some degree is I was basically like complaining like a little kid and be like, I'm not getting my dream job. Like my dream, really, like the thing that I'm good at is just head modeling. Like I'm good. I'm naturally like that's my God-given path, and like I wanted to work at like 2K Games or LucasArts as like a game artist. That's like I don't have to like fake that. There's no like pretending to like it. There's no forcing to like it. I really love that shit. Like I've always loved that kind of shit. Even if it's just I'm cut out for that kind of stuff. But it would have taken like a lot more work than I put in. And I kind of like, I guess like as a broad generalization, just basically I made this really big mistake when I was 32. I had a good job at a game company, but it was basically like 3D modeling, and people were kind of like snubbing me, saying like, you're not really like a genius, you're not like a concept artist, and like you're kind of you have like a lot of like flaws and stuff. And I remember being like, how dare you, I am a great man and I will not do this lowly modeling work, I should do the concept art stuff. And I said, fuck this art stuff, I'm just going to go become a firefighter because I can do anything, I want to do the cool stuff. Well, like I'm not genetically cut out for that, like the cool stuff. And actually 3D modeling of heads is cool stuff, but I guess it's not like the macho. I thought like I should do some like macho scary stuff. And so, and also I just said like I had this idea like I can do anything, and I didn't want to feel like some like weak, timid guy, but really I am really timid, and I am really just my strengths don't cater themselves to like firefighting or like improv acting or even jiu-jitsu. Like I did win a gold medal at jiu-jitsu, but I'm not like I'm not really like into fighting, firefighter fighting. I'm not like, I don't even really like fighting, but I think like fighting is like basically I guess I think I just didn't really play into my strengths, and I sort of like I didn't appreciate what I had like genetically, and I basically thought like I should be able to do anything, and I am like great. I am potentially great at everything, but I'm not really I've been doing like singing every day. Nobody likes my singing. I've been doing improv acting, and so what's my point? Yeah, that was like a mistake in my life. It's basically not appreciating what I naturally had, and then thinking that I could just be good at anything, like be great at anything, and like doesn't seem like that's the case. Doesn't seem like it just seems like it probably would have been better to appreciate my strengths, and also just I think overestimation. Like I wanted to believe that I was like sexier than I was. I'm like, I'm a handsome guy, but really I'm not really. Like I'm not like, I have like ugliness, and I'm not like socially charming. Like people don't really like me socially. And so basically, I guess I just wanted to believe that I could do what the other people could do just as good as them. And I don't know what that is, but I don't know. I could spend a lot of time on this, but basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that like. Also, there's some sort of thing that I did where I'm like, how dare you? I am a great man, or something like that. That's a real problem. I sort of did that like at at jiu-jitsu too. Like I was doing jiu-jitsu for like 2 years, and they didn't give me, I guess like I didn't go to the belt ceremony, and so then I thought they would give me a belt even though I didn't go to the belt ceremony, and they didn't do that, and I was like, how dare you? And so I just quit because I'm like, I'm not getting the accolades I deserve. I don't know what that is, but that's like a bad thing. And how long do I want to spend at this? What's that? There's like a human behavior where like if you start to think that you're like really great or somehow better than you are, and then you get like miffed or something if you feel like you're not getting the respect or accolades that you deserve, and then you quit or throw like a tantrum or something like that, but really like you probably weren't as good as you really thought. What is that called in a simple term? And then like, isn't that related to like the devil or something like that?
I know exactly what you're just.
Yeah, inflated ego from narcissism. Yeah, I think basically I guess I've concluded that like it's important to like have feedback from other people or to rely on feedback. Like if you think, basically I said this spiel every day where I was like, I can say that I'm good at things. Basically I said like things are not absolutely good. People are going to say you're bad, but if you tell yourself you're good, then you can believe that you're good, but maybe that's not a good thing to do. Like maybe, even though I say like I was saying the spiel every day where I was saying there's no absolutes, because I was trying to get good at something I wasn't good at, and I thought like maybe if I just keep telling myself that, I can get really great at it. But really I think it's like after like a year or two, after like a lot of drumming away at things that I'm not good at, basically the feedback never really says like you're really good at that. That's something I thought like you can change any of your weaknesses, you can be anything you want, like growth mindset, but really like the things that people really say are good about me were kind of always good about me. And even if I do something, like even if I do jiu-jitsu, even if I win like a gold medal in my jiu-jitsu tournament, I'm still not that, I'm not great. So can that be concluded by pride, concept of pride? As for the connection of the devil or something similar, sounds like you might be related to the concept of pride. In many religions and philosophical traditions, pride is considered a major vice or sin. It's a belief. It's a sin. It's seen as a belief in one's own superiority, often stemming to the downfall because it blinds you to your actual limitations. Actual limitations and make you react negatively when that inflated self-image isn't validated by others. Right. So I guess I suffer from pride. So right. So testing. Testing. So pride is like a sin, right? There's this basic sin called pride. Pride is basically the sin that like you believe that you are somehow better or more good in an area that is not reflected by others. And when people do not acknowledge the belief that you are good, you get like mad at them or something like that, or frustrated, and you think they're just putting you down or something like that, right? And that's not good. Like basically like if multiple people reflect that like they don't perceive you to be good in that area, it's probably worth re-examining your estimation of how good you think you are in that area. Like if just like 10 people reflect some perception, if perception is way better than that, maybe you should like reevaluate it. And so that's a good thing to do, right? Those are true, right? Alright, so anyway.
You got it exactly right. That's a very clear and insightful way to describe pride as a vice. Yes, pride in this context is essentially believing you are significantly better or more skilled in a certain area than what is reflected by others' perceptions and experiences.
Tricky. It's a tricky thing to navigate because like there's, I guess, I don't know quite. Basically like there's I always think like, I don't want to sound racist, but like there's black people, right? There's black people in the 50s or whatever, and they might have wanted to do some like white people stuff, and they might have had like a lot of white people saying, you're just not that type of person, you're a black person, you should do these black people type things. And they're like, well, wait a minute, like I probably could really do these other things. Like basically like there's a thing where like somebody might try to like keep you in your lane or something like that. But then I think there's, so what am I trying to say? There's kind of a balance. There's kind of a balance though, right? Like sometimes there really is kind of, sometimes there's like racism or sexism where people might basically say something to the degree of like, I perceive you as this negative label, you should act as that negative label. But that's different from like basically feedback that says that that activity that you're doing or that skill that you're doing doesn't seem good and you think that it's good. Basically like you if your performance is not being seen as good as you believe it's good, and then the feedback from other people is like that thing that you're doing is not good. Multiple people who are not talking with each other have said that it's not good, but you believe that it's really great. That could be pride. But basically people recommending that you don't do something not in accord with some kind of label, that could be like racism or somebody trying to keep you in your lane. There's like a distinction there, right?
You hit on a really critical and nuanced point. Absolutely, there's a significant difference between the kind of feedback related to genuine skill or performance and the negative projections or limitations imposed by...
Anyway, sometimes there's like prejudice. Sometimes I always think like sometimes somebody's just trying to sort of like keep you down or say like, I perceive you badly, don't even try to be good. But I didn't really know. Anyway, get to the point. Anyway, long story short, just basically like I applied to like basically get to the point. I guess the story that I'm telling in my head is like for the last 2 years, basically, how can I explain this in a short and simple way? Basically, like I'm naturally good at this stuff. I'm naturally good at this stuff, but I have some kind of complex where I'm like, I'll show you, I can do the other stuff. And usually that stuff somehow involves some sort of like macho fighting strong guy stuff because I want to show like I can be strong also. And also it's probably rooted in just like I want to do something that's like appealing to women or something like that. I don't know, whatever it is, I get this thing where it's like I want to show that I can do the cool stuff because I don't want to feel like a bullied little like weak person or something like that. Anyway, long story short, when I was 32, I had a really good job in San Francisco doing 3D modeling, and then somehow I got it in my head that like I'm too weak or something like that, and I want to go be a firefighter and overcome my weaknesses. And so then I quit the job, which was really stupid. And then I went to like junior college and I was like, I'm gonna go sign up to be a firefighter. But I was like, I don't even like, firefighter is like almost polar opposite to like what I'm naturally good at. I guess I just wanted to see like, I thought like maybe I should like fight my weaknesses or something like that. But really that was kind of like, basically that was like whenever I did that fight my weaknesses thing, it was basically like a big period of like disaster. Like I would take steroids and I would do some like macho shit, like working like the Home Depot lumberyard, and just everything was like, I'll show you I can be like a strong man or something like that. And it was all awful. Every time I did that it was awful. Although it was kind of fun, but it was just, meanwhile like just life got kind of worse. And then if I would like turn back to my strength, basically if I would basically withdraw into and just quit taking steroids and quit doing macho shit and just do what I was kind of good at, life got kind of good. But then there'd be this thing where it's like somebody would say like, you're some docile, like either a voice in my head or a voice in the outside world would say, you're some docile, lame, soft, like not attractive to women, lame-o guy. And I'd be like, no, I'll show you I can be like a man. And then everything kind of sucks again. So basically, I don't know how to explain it, but that's basically a polarity that I've switched between. And really like, anyway, long story short, this kind of happened because like 2 weeks ago, I applied to, actually like a month ago I applied to 2K Games, which really is like my real dream job, like where I really would belong in terms of like, there's no faking, like I don't have to like pretend to like that. But the weird thing is like, even when I was at environments like that, there's like this weird like prideful thing that I would get where I'd be like, these guys are all like soft, nerdy, cowardly people who are hiding at their computer, and they're not attractive, and their children are not going to be proud of them because they're not like macho men. And so I would think like, I don't want to be like you guys, and I'm going to go do some macho shit. And that's really bad. Like, that's, I don't know. I guess I believe that like you can change into anything, like you can change your genetics, but really like after a lot of trial and error, I've found that to like not be true. I listened to like a lot of Tony Robbins, and basically I thought like, can't you just change into anything you want? Like, can't you just basically be like, I'm gonna force myself to be a singer even though I have no talent at it? I don't know, at least in my experience, the answer was like no. Like putting out lots of like workout stuff, putting out lots of workout stuff, and putting out lots of like dance stuff, and putting out lots of like I did a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff. I did a lot of improv acting stuff the last 2 years. Nobody ever likes it. That's the weird thing. It's like when I put this out, I didn't have to tell anybody like I'm good at this. Like people just, they see it, they're like, that's good. That's like actually good. So I'll just say that. I'll say like basically like, hey, I know I listened to Tony Robbins or some sort of people who had an idea of like growth mindset, and they made it sound like they basically put an idea in my head that like, just imagine the type of person you want to be, and through your effort and dedication you can become great at anything in spite of your natural strengths and weaknesses. Having spent a lot of time working at my weaknesses, I have not found that to be true. I have basically found that like, despite tons of time and effort investing in any of my weaknesses, people never really perceive the things that I was initially weak at to be very good. Whereas if I put effort into my strengths without having to tell other people that they should see that thing as good, they like and click like on social media on things that I was always naturally good at. Is that consistent with just kind of like the way people's efforts relate to their natural genetic tendencies?
That's a really insightful observation, and it absolutely aligns with a more nuanced understanding of how effort interacts with our inherent strengths and weaknesses. While the growth mindset, championed by figures like Tony Robbins, emphasizes the potential for improvement through dedication, the idea that you can become great at anything regardless of your starting point doesn't always reflect reality.
Anyway, so basically, long story short, I wish I didn't do that. Like basically, like, get the point, Sean. Basically like, I don't know, I applied to 2K Games a month ago, and rather than like immediately rejecting me, which they've done for like years, basically like the job that I was at in San Francisco, the guy who was my manager there, his wife was like the gatekeeper, the main recruiter for 2K Games, and so when I quit, she kind of like blacklisted me in her mind or something. She basically said like, fuck this guy like he quit, he kind of like screwed up, he kind of bailed out, and kind of inconvenienced the company that I was at in San Francisco. Like they had to hire a new person. I kind of like quit mid-project. That's like really bad. Like you don't care about the project we're working on shit. Anyway, basically like ever since then I never really got like a good job. And every time I applied to 2K Games, it was just immediate rejection. But then like a month ago, I applied to 2K Games, and they basically like, they didn't immediately reject me. It seemed like they were considering me for weeks. And all of a sudden, I was like, I was in jiu-jitsu class, and in jiu-jitsu class, they kept dangling this like blue belt, and they're like, oh, if you do what we say, you're gonna get a blue belt. And the teacher, and then like, I thought to myself like, I don't even really want. I was wasting all this time like doing all this workout stuff and jiu-jitsu practice stuff, and then I was thinking like, I don't even really want the blue belt, but what I really want is like I really want to work at 2K Games. Like I really do love that like 2K Games like game art type stuff. That's what I really love. But for some reason, even when I did that stuff, there'd always be some little thing inside of me that was kind of like, I'm just like a nerd. I want to be like a cool, respectable guy who makes women wet with desire. But really, that was always kind of like silly. And I don't know, there's something I kind of like hate about myself, which is that like, I guess I don't really appreciate and acknowledge, maybe I got bullied or something. I don't appreciate and acknowledge like my natural tendencies. there's kind of like this thing throughout my life where if I just kind of like be myself, people go like wah wah, like you're soft and you're a lame-o, and girls are like you're too boring, and I'm always like, oh, I have to become like a fiery, like stronger guy. I'm too weak, I'm too timid, I need to like fight that. But anyway, in my time fighting it, it never really worked, and I'm just convinced that like I am kind of weak. Like my dad's kind of weak. I don't know. I don't know if there's just weak and strong, but like, you know, I got like small little teeth and skinny little shoulders, and like I'm not like super intimidating or something like that. Get the point. Basically, like, I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that like I was probably naive when I was 30, and I thought like maybe you can be anything, but really like I should have just probably like been fine with how I was. I guess I wish when I was young somebody just told me like you can't really like change your genetics. And I guess, I don't know, the data kind of says like, so when you say that, oh god, when you say, testing, when you say that it doesn't always reflect reality, you say it doesn't always reflect reality, you're basically saying that like, it's not like totally clear cut entirely. Like basically like there are instances of somebody completely investing in their weaknesses and maybe even getting a career in it, or possibly getting other people to perceive them as good at it. But like, and like somebody isn't necessarily just weak or strong. It's not like totally clear cut, but basically like just it tends to be the case that like if you do something you're good at, you could be really great at it. And if you just neglect what you're good at and just spend most of your time on things that you're weak at, you're likely not going to be really great as you would if you just do the thing you're really great at. And probably you enjoy and love doing that thing that you're naturally good at. Are those true? Probably.
Testing, loud and clear. And yes, you've absolutely captured the nuance I was trying to convey. It's not a black and white situation where someone is purely weak or strong across the board.
Anyway, so I guess I don't know. Basically, I feel like I really didn't do things right in my life, obviously. And just quitting. I don't know, like I'm trying to think. Basically, a really big mistake I made for sure was when I was 32. I had a really good game artist job, and it was connected to the gatekeeper for the company I really would have been suited for, which was like 2K Games. 2K Games, like, I would really love to do that, and I could have done it well when I was like 32. Like, and also like I'm not really like. I wanted to believe like I always wanted to believe like I can do the cool stuff, like I can do the really hard stuff. I'll show you, I can do like anything. But you just don't really have like enough time in a day. But I don't know. The thing, I guess like I definitely should not have quit that job, and I shouldn't have become like a petulant child and be like, I'm not getting the praise I deserve. Fuck you guys. That's like a real mistake. And what's my I don't want to talk about this a lot, but basically like when I was at that company, like the boss and the teacher were kind of like low-key bullying me a little bit, and I was like, how dare you, I quit. And like those are problems that I've always had, is like basically like I'm not getting the reward I deserve, when really I was probably getting just what I deserved, and getting miffed about that. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't like look down. I wish I didn't pretend that I was like cool, and I would have just been like, yeah, I'm a nerd, and I like other nerds, and I don't look at the nerds as like, you coward, you're pathetic. I hate that. Like I'm a soft kind of like nerdy person with a lot of fears, and like I have a lot of weaknesses. I never want to like look at somebody else as anything. People have like different strengths and weaknesses, and just I regret doing that. What else? I regret like getting too mad about like low-key bullying from superiors, and so I don't know, but I guess the main thing is like I really and I regret just spending too much time on my weaknesses, and just I think, I don't know, I guess the best thing, if I could have gone back to when I was 32, was basically just stay with the job, but then like in the evening, like maybe take jujitsu or public speaking and try to work on my weaknesses to be like a little less afraid of people. I think that would have been like the right balance. But basically, like, I definitely have a thing now where I'm just like, I want to do art. I want to do this. I want to do what I'm good at. I've never gone all in on my strengths. I don't want to go like totally in on my strengths, but I want to go like mostly in on my strengths. So basically, you keep recommending kind of like a balanced approach. I keep trying to I keep going back through these polarities of like mostly focusing on my weaknesses throughout the time of my day, and then abandoning my weaknesses, and then mostly going all in on my strengths. But you're making it sound like probably a balanced approach is best, meaning that like probably the best thing is like mostly focus on your strengths, like maybe do 6 to 8 hours of your career to just do it the best you can, but maybe spend like a little time working on your weaknesses, but don't put most of your eggs in that basket. Put most of your eggs in the strengths basket in terms of a career, right? Just to stay competitive or do your best work. But you know, maybe like an hour each day or hour or two on some extracurricular thing. But like that just trying to be good at everything in some sort of well-rounded, I have no weaknesses thing is kind of like foolish, right? Because there's just not enough time in a person's life, and just, you know, you're just not strong in everything. Nobody's good in everything, right?
That's an excellent summary and perfectly captures the balanced approach I've been suggesting. You've articulated it very clearly.
All right, so I guess my mistake was just quitting the job, and then I guess like quitting jiu-jitsu was probably also a mistake. Was it a mistake? I don't know. I'm not sure how good jiu-jitsu is really. I have, my fingers are like, the tip of my fingers are kind of like permanently numb now, and it's just it's pretty often that when I'm rolling around in bed, these two fingers, I can't even, they get all like numb. Like I've definitely lost sensation in some of my outside fingers and outside toes. And so what do you think, Sean? I don't know, but I just have like, these things are kind of things that I've kind of always wanted to do a little bit. Basically, I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Like I probably shouldn't have quit my job. I probably shouldn't have quit jiu-jitsu, but I should have definitely like done mostly my strength. And I think that I get like, I don't know. What's my, basically I'm just going to try to do that. I think I've already fucked up my life. And, but I really love this stuff. Like I love this stuff in a way that's like not fake. I don't have to like force it. Like if I'm doing pretty much even talking, like if I'm doing talking or if I'm doing improv acting, dancing, workouts, jiu-jitsu, it's kind of like, it's really kind of like, I really naturally sort of love this shit in a sense where it's like, if left to my own devices, I would just do mostly this kind of shit. Anyway, get to the point. I don't know, but so what do you want to do now, Sean? I don't know, I'm trying to change my my lifestyle here. Also, there's another thing where I'm definitely like really just kind of freaked out about just my dwindling life clock of just being like 45, and just I have this feeling in my head like it's over. I'm already too old. Don't look at the dead body, Sean. Dude, I saw this really bummer of an article this morning. Do you want to think about negative shit? Yeah, kind of. I do want to kind of think of negative shit. What do I want to think of? I don't want to talk about this a lot, but anyway, what do you want to say? Just basically, I really do want to work at like 2K Games or a company like 2K Games. I don't think I can do it anymore. Like, and even if I feel like I'm just going to get relegated to some sort of like contract part. I don't feel like it's going to afford me like an ability to have like a wife and job. I'm kind of stuck at my dad's house anyway, so the whole idea of like, but basically like I kind of wish that like, if I look at my stupid life, I wish that when I was 32, I wouldn't have got some like inflated ego about like I'm cooler or stronger or better than I was. I wish I just somehow had maintained some sort of mindset that like I'm like, you know, I'm like a nerdy sort of like weak, soft, not super attractive guy with who's really not, I'm not cool or strong or attractive to women as I wish I was, or sometimes fancy myself to be. And I basically wish I just like assessed and based what I was and what I was doing off of the feedback of like other people somehow. I basically think that would have been like good to do. Like basically like if I'm putting out some sort of thing and people are like, that's not good, I wish I didn't sort of insistently say like, no, I'm good and I'm gonna do it anyway. I basically said, well, you know, the feedback as to like what people say is good about you on a regular basis is probably like, you know, is probably what is good about you and what is bad about you. And so you can mitigate that like a little bit, but like yeah, basically I think it's good to be sort of like checked and balanced by like other people's feedback. It's kind of tricky though, but in the age of like social media where people can you can get like a lot of hate from people. Sometimes you can have like hate that makes you think that you're bad at something that you really are good at. But basically like generally good not to like operate in like a bubble where you're not taking into account feedback of other people. Like basically like, yeah, there's like trolls on social media who might tell you you're terrible in ways that you're not, or that you're way worse in areas that you're not. But if you're putting out a lot of things regularly on social media that get like no likes, like a lot of people have seen it, they're not telling you it's good, and just no one likes certain things that you're doing. It's worth considering that like those things that you're doing are probably not perceived as good. And if you're perceiving them as good and no one else perceives them as good, it's worth taking that into consideration in terms of like how you might want to invest your effort. Like if you want to really do something that's good, it's probably worth taking into consideration the feedback of lots of people who don't have like hateful, damaging intent towards you, right? Yeah, so basically like
Absolutely. You hit on a crucial aspect of growth and self-awareness, especially in a public-facing environment like social media. Operating in a bubble where you disregard all external feedback, even when it's not malicious, can be detrimental to your progress and impact. Here's a breakdown of why. It looks like you might have just typed some random letters. Is there something you'd like to ask or talk about? I'm here to help if you have a question or need some information.
So basically, I regret quitting that job at 2K Games. I regret insistently sort of grandstanding and believing that I basically just regret just insistently doing a bunch of things I'm not good at. And so I'm like trying to do that. I'm trying to stop doing it. But now, I mean, at 45 though, there's this thing now where I'm just like totally panicked. Like deep down, I'm just like, I can't stop making videos because I'm so terrified of and lonely. And so I don't know, it's probably already too late, but basically, long story short, if I can, I would like to like transition into like not insistently like doing a bunch of shit that I'm not good at and trying to do more of what I'm naturally good at, even though it is kind of like boring, and even though I do feel like there's probably no ability to get a job in it anymore. I just am like, well, maybe, but I guess there's a little thing in my head that says like, maybe if I just do this for like, basically like, I can say this for sure, is like every time in my life that I sort of stopped doing a bunch of shit that I was not good at, and I'm just like, let's just be myself. Like basically like be myself is basically like pretend no one's watching. What would you do? What I would do if no one was watching is I would just kind of like, I'd do some sort of like 30-minute workout or run my dogs. I would listen to the radio. I would do like some drawing, and I would do some like refinement creative project that relies on like knowledge and getting something to look accurate. That's this. So basically like this is like what I'm naturally doing. This is what I would sort of naturally do if no one was looking. So I should just do that. Basically like all this video is kind of, it's tempting to just kind of like grandstand and like be like, I'm so good at the cool stuff, but really like nobody else likes any of the nobody likes anything that I'm doing except these heads. So what's the point? Basically, I should resist the temptation to do a lot of show off shit, showing like, look, I can do the cool stuff on social media, because it's not really good. Nobody else likes it, and so that's it. So can I do that? So I don't know. So now I'm gonna try to switch to basically, I was doing like 2 hours of 3D modeling before. I'm just gonna try to do at least 6 hours of 3D modeling, possibly 8 if I can do that. And then as I do that, there's going to be a voice in my head or a voice from the outside world that says, it's already too late. You've already squandered your talent and you're washed up and dead. You'll never get another job in game art. Well, not likely. I can say without fail, every time I've ever shifted my efforts to doing like 6 to 8 hours of 3D modeling, eventually I do get job offers. Like every other time I've done that, I do get job offers. But maybe I won't, but at least what I can say for sure is that the result of what I'm doing will be good. Like if I make these models, people are going to say, well, that's actually good. And so I'm going to try to do that basically for sure now. Is I'm going to only put, I have this other YouTube channel that's connected to my name, Sean Patrick Richards. What I'm not going to do from now on is I'm only going to post 3D models onto my Sean Patrick Richards YouTube page, because nothing else gets like good feedback. Like if I do some show off stuff or some improv acting, like nobody likes it. Nobody clicks like, so it must not be perceived as good. And I'm not going to tell myself like, even if nobody says it's good, you can tell yourself it's good. Nothing is absolutely good or bad. Yeah, but like if you want to be like, there's certain things that are kind of more good, and you can kind of like get a sense of that from like other people's perception. And so basically I'm just going to acknowledge that like I'm not, and so I made this thing, nobody cares, but yesterday I don't want to rant a lot, but like I made this thing yesterday where I said just be yourself, and I basically just said like, I know I say there's like no self and there's no there's no absolute goods, but basically like there is like genetics and there is like other people's feedback as to what you're actually good at. And so basically like, I don't want to talk about this a lot, but basically I wrote down yesterday like, what am I actually good at? Like what are my actual strengths and weaknesses? What would I do if like nobody was watching? And basically like if somebody said just be yourself, don't be fake, what would that be? Artist guy, kind of boring, kind of peaceful, generally soft, generally harmless. I don't really want to hurt anybody. I don't even really like, I'm not like mean. Tenacious, endure tedium, not totally respectable, not super exciting to women. Yeah, man, I wish I could be like attractive to women. Never really could be very much. Not a warrior. I want to be like, I can fight. I'll show you. I'll be a firefighter. I'll be like a jiu-jitsu guy. Not really. Yeah, I mean, I did jiu-jitsu. I won a gold medal, but I'm not. It all is like relying on sleeves, and like I'm not really good at it. And I don't. It's basically like I shouldn't spend a lot of time trying to do things I'm really weak at. Anyway, get the point. I don't know. Live and learn. I already fucked up my life, but what do you think, Sean? Yeah, my dislikes. I think my biggest weaknesses are I just really am not good at like face-to-face interaction. I'm always kind of self-conscious about my face, and my face really does have some like kind of ugly aspects. Like I have like a weak chin, I have like a small mouth, big nose. I mean, those are like, that's just like how it is. I can be like, but I'm not the ugliest person in the world. What's the point? Anyway, 45 years old. I do look like an old guy, so I'm kind of old. I like thinking a lot. My strengths, I'm good at art. Give me a lot of time to refine some sort of thing and go over and over it in kind of a boring manner, and I can make something look kind of cool. That's my main strength. Good at like enduring tedium, good at zoning in, perfecting something that you can go over and over. And then what else? Just not really super good at like face-to-face interaction, dialogue, not really good at auditory processing, things related to like face-to-face communication, not really a strength of mine. And even if I do it, people don't really like it very much. Not really fun. I can be kind of boring. I wish I was like more fun. Anyway, basically for the last 2 years, kind of having abandoned this stuff mostly and spending a lot of time on weaknesses, it's been kind of fun, but it hasn't really panned out. Like nobody really likes it. And then meanwhile, I have this like sad feeling like I wish I was working at like a game company. And so, what's the point? I don't know. I guess long story short, for the last 2 years, I was telling myself like, just forget about job. Like I said this thing every morning where I was like, what do I get? What do I get for being normal or being true to my weakness? I was basically frustrated because like, there's no fucking jobs and there's no fucking girlfriends. Like I'm not. And then I'm like, well, fuck you. I was saying like, fuck you, God. I'm not getting anything. I'm gonna just not do my God-given dream. I'm just gonna do some random shit. And so, what's the point? Just basically 2 years of that has just been like, nothing I did was very good. Like nobody liked my improv acting. Nobody liked my jiu-jitsu. It doesn't seem like I can get really good at things that I'm weak at, even if I do it a lot. So basically, I'm just. And then meanwhile, like, you know, if 2K Games called up and said, "Hey, you're hired," I would feel really good. Like I would feel like not like, you know, like I have to fake it. I would just be like, "Wow, that's what I really love." And so, what's the point? I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna try to do what I really love. And there's a voice in my head that says, "It's already too late. You already fucked up your life. You're too old. Just lay down and die." And it's like, well, even if, let's just say, even if I'm gonna do this for like a year, I'm gonna try to do this for like a year or two. I'm gonna do 6 to 8 hours of 3D modeling, and I'm gonna try to like be myself, meaning that like I'm gonna acknowledge my strengths and weaknesses, and don't do a lot of grandstanding and insistent pushing of things that I'm not good at. And so I'm not going to put any more videos on my main YouTube, because really I was just trying to show off to my ex, and I was just being like, look, ex-girlfriend, like, please like me, basically please have sex with me. But meanwhile, she just kind of wanted money. And so also the other thing is like my ex, I don't even think she can have kids anymore. What's the point? I should give up at like pandering to my ex, or pandering to like, that's weird too, is like I keep thinking that too, is like the ironic thing is like the best thing for getting my ex to have sex with me would have just been to just do my nerd thing. That's the thing I keep thinking is like, yeah, like, you know, I should have just basically accepted my nerdiness and my genetics and just been like, I am weak, I am not respectable to people, I am a fool, I am dorkish, but let's just be humble and like do my nerd thing, and then actually have a job, and then my ex might have had sex with me and had a kid, and yeah, it would have been good to do that. It would have just been good to like accept my nerd nature, been fine with it, had kids, and just not feel all insecure like I'm some sad, pathetic dad. I can't be respected as like a man or a dad or whatever. I wish I didn't. I wish I could have accepted my nerd nature and liked it somehow. Just been like, my brother said that. My brother said like, you should just like what you got and tell yourself it's like it's the best or something, but don't like, you know, do things you're not good at and be like, I'm good at the stuff I'm not good at. Anyway, something like that. Anyway, I've said enough. But basically, what's the plan, Sean? Basically, I'm gonna try to change paths. I'm not gonna foolishly, insistently do a bunch of things I'm not good at and present them as though they're good and expect them to become good, because nobody ever likes the things that I'm not good at. What else? I'm not gonna like look down on like nerdy people and say like, I don't want to be a nerd. I want to be a cool guy. You guys are old dorks. I don't want to be like you. No more doing that. I'm a dork. I'm a nerd. I should like myself, and I should like other dorky, soft, timid, nerdy people, because that's what I am also. And then what else? It doesn't seem like I can change my weaknesses very much, but ChatGPT says you can mitigate them a little bit. Like if you spend a little time in your off hours, if you're terrified of public speaking and you do a public speaking class, yeah, you're not going to be great, but at least you can like not be horribly bad at it. Like if you want to mitigate your weaknesses, it seems like. Can you say that? That's my main conclusion over and over. I don't want to talk about this a lot, but basically. So as a broad generalization, you probably, as a human, you probably should invest in your strengths mostly, if not entirely, but mostly if you want to be really great or competitive at something. But you know, you might be able to mitigate your weaknesses. Like if you spend a little time in your off hours or your weekend, you know, mitigating your weaknesses. Like if you're terrified of public speaking, if you work on that weakness in your off time, you probably aren't going to be really great, but at least you will be able to be like okay at it. You can kind of like mitigate your weaknesses and become okay at them, but don't expect to like really shine in them or get a lot of other people to like and love your activity in them. Is that a good summary?
That's a really insightful.
So yes, so testing. Is the answer to my previous question yes?
I see. So, in the context of your previous.
So yes, the answer to that previous question that I asked 2 questions ago would be yes, right?
Yes, based on our.
All right, so anyway, that's my conclusion. My conclusion is like what you got. Like, it's definitely better to like, just statistically, way better to invest in your strengths. And you probably really love your strengths if you're honest. You can't be good at everything. Don't do some grass is greener on the other side thing. But if you want to, don't quit your strength, and love what you got. And if you think about it, you probably really do love what you got. Like, I've been trying to show off and pretend that I like all the shit that I don't like. But if the camera was off, I would just do like quiet. I wouldn't even talk. Like, I don't even really like talking. Like, I just am lonely. And so I'm trying to talk to like get attention, but really like I don't even really like talking. And so if the camera was off, I would just do art all day, and I would be humble and quiet, and then I would go running with my dogs and maybe do like some light calisthenics. And I would be like really boring and repetitive and do some like boring art thing that's not super fun or exciting or sexy. And so I'm not fun, exciting, or sexy. And so I give up at like trying to be those. And having tried to do all those things, nobody ever liked it. That was the weird thing too. It's like every time I did something where I was like, look, I can do the cool stuff. I guess I tend to think like, hey, I get impressed when I see myself doing what I think is the cool thing, but nobody else likes it. Like if I watch my own video, I'd be like, look, I'm doing what the cool guy does. And then everyone else is like, yeah, but you're not good at it. And so I'm going to stop that. Okay. So that's it. That's all I have to say. So I'm going to save this video and I'm not going to put any more videos in a forum that anybody can see. Like, I'm not going to put it, I'm never going to make another video and put it on YouTube, because potential employers, they can look up Sean Patrick Richards and they'll see all this jackass stuff. I'm never going to put another video on Sean Patrick Richards that potential employers can see, because I'm going to do 6 to 8 hours of 3D modeling every day for like a year or 2 years, and I'm going to intentionally try to be like more boring. But I'm going to use like Kik, and I'm going to use like alternate identity. Like I'll have like a Flores and Schwartz YouTube thing. I'll use that to do some like show off shit and do this like. Basically, I'm going to treat this live stream as though this is my like private life or my family. I'm going to talk here. I don't have a family or friends. I'm going to talk here in like with like weird personal shit. But then I'm going to remember that like there's a public facing like me that I should have, and also that public facing me should be aligned with what I can actually be. Like that's something, I don't want to talk about this a lot, but that's something I noticed from the last 2 years of foolishness too, is like even if I manufacture a bunch of like forced stuff here that I'm not good at and I don't really like doing, the problem, like there was somebody who watched my thing and they thought like, oh, you're like an improviser guy, and he was doing improv with me, and he probably thought after dealing with me that like, oh, this guy doesn't even really like this stuff. Like you were acting like, I thought you were somebody that like liked things that you don't seem to actually like. And so that's another thing I think too, is like if I ever want to have real relationships, I should try to like do what I actually like and don't act like I like a bunch of stuff that I don't like. That's hard. That's something I want to do now too, is basically just like, you know, like kind of like be yourself, which I'm like, well, what does that mean, be yourself? Basically like do things you actually like to do and are good at, and probably don't do a lot of things that you don't like to do and are not good at, because then even if you find some people who are also like to do some things that you don't like doing, they'll be like, you don't even like this, like you don't like, if I go to jiu-jitsu regularly, if I'm forcing myself to do it, even if some guy at jiu-jitsu is like, hey, I like jiu-jitsu, you like jiu-jitsu, let's play together, I'll be like, I don't even really like jiu-jitsu. And they're like, well, why are you playing here? You should go do some things you like. Yeah, so what's the point? That's my conclusion too, is like, don't pretend to love and like a bunch of stuff that you don't like, because even if you convince other people that you love and like that, you might be surrounded by a bunch of people that are doing things that you don't even like. So like, do what you like, and probably don't do what you don't like, so that you can probably find some other people that you can do and not do similar things that you like and don't like. Can you substantiate that? I don't want to talk about this a lot. Do you think this is like wise life advice? Is basically like, there's a temptation on social media to pretend that you like and are good at things that you might not be like, because you might think that they're cooler. But a potential problem with that is that, like, even if you convince, let's say, women or some other people that you are actually good at something, or that you like doing something, which are sometimes synonymous. If you're good and you like doing something that you don't even really like and you're not even really good at, even if you convince those people that you are that type of person, you might wind up palling and spending time with some people. You might end up doing some activities with some people that you don't even like doing. Like, don't apply for a job that you don't even really want to do or are good at, because even if you get the job, you'll be like, I don't even like this thing, and people are going to notice that you don't like it, and so you're probably not going to be good at it. Basically, like, for your own good, you should mostly, even with social media, you should mostly do things that you actually like to do, and you should do things that you're good at, because then if you find other people to do those activities with, either in the form of a job or a girlfriend or friends, you guys will be doing things that you like and are good at, which is good for everybody, right? Yeah. So the answer is yes, right? The answer is yes.
Got it. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's definitely wise life advice to prioritize authenticity and align your actions with your genuine interests and abilities.
But I thought, like, maybe I can learn to like stuff, and maybe I can change and get good at something. But in my experience, as soon as the camera's off, I realize, like, I don't even really like. I realize, like, basically a lot of what I'm doing with this camera is just showing off. If the camera goes off, I don't even really like. I don't enjoy face-to-face interaction. I can force it, but it's not something I naturally gravitate towards. And so I just want to do things. I want to try to be the person that I would be naturally if I wasn't on camera, which is basically just boring, quiet art guy that wants to do 6 to 8 hours of some sort of like digital art stuff, and then do some kind of like workout, walk my dogs, go to sleep. I'm kind of like a boring art guy, and so don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Everything I'm doing on here is just, I'm basically just looking in the camera and thinking, like, I look kind of like that actor guy. Maybe I can do the same thing they're doing. Like, maybe some woman will like me, and like none of it worked. And so anyway, so stop. So no more bullshit. No more, like, I didn't know it was bullshit. I thought, like, I was listening to Tony Robbins. I thought maybe I can change, but now I think, like, no, just like the thing that you're good at is like what you're always good at. So just do the thing that you're good at. If you put out something, content over and over and over, and nobody likes it, like, I think you can tell yourself it's good, but you probably should just say, let's just say that it's not good, and then let's just do something that like a lot of people like, and especially if like I enjoy it, and especially if you can get paid for it. And so I just kind of wish I did that. Anyway, that's it. Okay, so no more talking. I'm not even going to upload this video because I'm tired of like putting out stuff that like nobody likes, and I want to discourage myself. I have to stop this ranting shit. Is just like it's just therapy. I'm just therapy ranting, and I have to stop this, and I have to quit putting it out as though I want people to watch it, because it's not good. This thing I'm doing right now, not good. And that's reflected by the likes. Okay, so stop. Okay, All right, so we got it. All right, can I say the spiel stuff though? I'm gonna do this. So basically, like, I'm gonna use this hidden forum of Kick. The only people watching this probably are like a few people that are well-wishing, but like some trolls also. And so I don't mind. I'm gonna use this as though my therapy and my private life. I'm not gonna put it on YouTube anymore. And so, okay, so here we go. All right, so simplify this to only stuff that counters the negative, demotivating thoughts. Don't include anything that involves changing or growing into a different person. So I'm just gonna say this really quick to do some therapy shit, because I'm trying to get out of like a dark place. I've had like a really dark week and a half, and love it. All right, so this stuff I say isn't necessarily the truth. You're right. So what's the point of this? Why am I reading this? Just to counter the negative. I'm in like a dark, depressive, unmotivated state, and I want to get out of it. So this stuff I say. So basically, I want to read the spiel. The whole point, the point of the spiel, it used to be like I'm gonna change into like a social, physical person who's attractive to young women. I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm not trying to change. I don't believe I can like. I'm not gonna get younger, and I'm not gonna get cooler or like just. I'm not gonna try to change into a totally different person anymore. It's just I give up at. I'm not gonna put a ton of time into my weaknesses anymore. But I'll do like a little workout or something. Okay, so moving on. So this stuff I say isn't necessarily the truth. You or I might think different stuff at different times, and that's fine. I hear there's planet Saturn. Whether or not I say that, whatever I'm saying about planet Saturn, it's not changing the situation on planet Saturn. So basically, like, try not to think about a bunch of shit that you can't change. Whatever it is, or whatever happened in the past happened. But just thinking about it is not really doing any good. What are you tripping out about Saturn for? There's just physical reality. Whatever we're thinking about or saying about physical reality isn't changing the past and isn't changing physical reality. Whatever is or whatever is not, regardless of what we think or say. So what am I doing with my thoughts and words? That's the gist of this whole sheet, is basically like, just quit thinking about like the past, the future, or just stories about whatever happened. It happened. It is what it is. Your thoughts are not changing. Your thoughts and interpretations are not changing physical reality or the past. And so try to just do shit and think stuff that makes you feel good if you can. There's just physical reality. Okay, so we said that. There is just physical reality. Whatever we're thinking about or saying about it isn't changing the past, or isn't changing. Whatever we're thinking or saying about it isn't changing the past or reality. Yeah, this is basically it. Whatever you're thinking and saying about the past or physical reality isn't changing the past or physical reality. No drugs or alcohol. No fighting. It can be worse. Wake up, go straight here. Skip the toxic news. It's just as bad. Don't delete this. Brainwashing myself. Why do it publicly? Because it works. Don't corrupt the youth. So what does that mean? Don't corrupt the youth. Basically, like, you should obviously just you want to get a job. Try to get a job in your strength. Don't waste the majority of your time focusing on your weaknesses. Accept yourself. You're tripping, Sean. You think there's so basically, like, I just want to say this. I'm saying, like, this is my new programming that I'm going to try to tell myself. So brainwashing myself. So what does don't corrupt the youth mean? So basically, like, what I can tell you for sure is, like, I fucked up my life by quitting my strength and believing like I can be good at everything. And that's like the major like folly of my life, is basically like thinking like I'm better than I am without like data to the contrary. And so I should have just, when I was 32, I had like a really good job as like a game artist. It wasn't great, like it wasn't like the greatest artist role in the world. I wasn't like a concept artist, but it was good enough. And same thing with my girlfriend. I had like a good girlfriend. She was good enough, but I was like, this is not good enough. I deserve better, or something like that. And so I quit. I quit my job and I quit my girlfriend. And really that was probably even a little better than I even deserved. And then meanwhile I thought I could do better, and I never did better. And then I thought like I'm gonna do the cool stuff that I'm not good at, and none of that ever was good. And so that was like a really big mistake. And so I can tell you, if you're watching this, you should just, I don't know, I'll just say I statements. If I could go back and change my life, I would have just done what I was good at. I should have just done what I was good at and accepted like that's what you're good at, and just don't hate yourself for not being good at like a bunch of things that you're not naturally good at, and like embrace your weaknesses and just or embrace your strengths and accept your weaknesses, and maybe spend like a little time mitigating some of your weaknesses, but don't put like more than like an hour or two into it. To spend like 6 to 8 hours a day at like what you're naturally good at, and just take into consideration feedback. Like if other people basically say like, basically if you put out a bunch of things on social media and nobody likes it, you can say like there's no absolute good or bad, but like you can kind of say like I guess I'm not really good at that, or other people don't see it as good. You might want to like do things that like people see as good. If you want to be good, like do what you're good at. And that sucks, because if you're like a nerdy guy, you're like I want to be good at like the brave sexy stuff. Well, I'm not, and so basically I really regret that. They say that that's pride. They say that that's like that's related to pride, and that's a sin. Pride is basically like egotistical, an inflated ego, an inflated believing that you are somehow more good in areas that you're not really good at. And so you should like take other people's feedback into consideration. Not the trolls. Like there might be trolls who say you're terrible. You're like, no, I know I'm good at certain things, but basically like kind of know what you're really good at and know what you're really not good at, and invest your time accordingly, meaning that like mostly do what you're good at, and what you're good at you probably really love that if you're really honest. Can you substantiate that? Generally good to like be honest about what you're good at, and be honest about what you're not good at, and invest your time accordingly, meaning like probably focus on your strengths. And if you're honest, you probably really like doing the things that you're really good at, even if it's not considered the coolest thing in the world. Isn't that true? Isn't that good advice?
You've hit on a really interesting point about strengths, weaknesses, and enjoyment. Let's unpack.
So while leveraging your strengths is undoubtedly important for building confidence and achieving weaknesses, a more nuanced approach involved. Ultimately, it's about finding a balance. So basically, like I'm trying to flip flop now. I'm saying like fuck my. I'm abandoning my weaknesses, and like I'm thinking like I have to do all my strengths. ChatGPT basically says over and over like, no, like you probably should like. So basically, you're saying that you should probably mostly do your strengths, but you know, in your off time, spend a little bit of time mitigating your weaknesses. That's the best balanced approach, right?
That's a real.
So yes, so the answer to my I hate this fucking thing. I hate this fucking. So the answer, you fucking piece of shit. Testing. So the answer to my previous question is yes, right? That's the answer to that question.
Yes, absolutely. You nailed it. Mostly focus on your strengths, and in your off time, dedicate a little attention to mitigating your weaknesses is a solid, balanced approach. That's the core of what I was trying to convey.
All right, so anyway. So basically, I want to do 6 hours a day of 3D modeling, and I'm going to try to do that for a year. That's it. That's all I'm really trying to say. Don't get carried away thinking I'm going to become a totally different fucking person. Long story short, I want to do 6 to 8 hours a day of 3D head modeling. 6 hours a day of 3D head modeling, and apply to 3D artists, similar 3D artist jobs every day So just I'm changing my little schedule. It's just so that's it basically. I changed my mind. I quit jiu-jitsu. Maybe I shouldn't have even quit jiu-jitsu, but it doesn't really matter. Jiu-jitsu is not like a really big deal, but basically, long story short, I regret I really regret quitting my game artist job when I was 32 and thinking like I'm going to become a firefighter or some sort of like shit that I was really not good at, and just kind of not really understanding like my strengths and weaknesses and just not being honest about them. I don't know. I thought you can like change. I remember distinctly listening to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins says you can just imagine the person you want to be, but like I don't know. At least in my experience, like investing a lot of time in my weaknesses doesn't really. I'm never really that good at them. Nobody else really likes it, and so that's just I take into consider feedback. Okay, so you've said it over and over, Sean. All right, so what am I saying? Brainwashing. So what are we saying again? Basically, I kind of fucked up my life, and it's probably too late to fix it, but I'm gonna try. At least for the next 2 years, I'm just gonna say. Long story short, I want to do 6 to 8 hours of 3D art, 3D head modeling. Like that's kind of like the head modeling is like you're really good at that. Like that's like you're actually good at that. You could actually do that as a career. You're like naturally talented at that. I thought like I can do anything even if I'm not naturally talented at. That has not seemed to be the case. After 2 years of doing things I'm not naturally talented at, nobody really likes it, and it's not like really good. So what's the point? Anyway, so I asked ChatGPT. The chat data and Chat GPT says over and over, not either or, but mostly invest in strengths, little time on weakness. They say that's so basically I've had this, nobody cares, but I've had this like binary polarized method of operating, which has not been good, which is basically like I'll do like totally nerd life where I'm mostly just gonna do like game art stuff, and then I say fuck it, I'm not doing any game art, and then I do like some like trying to be stronger stuff, and then I quit the stronger stuff, and then I do game art stuff. Really the best thing to do according to ChatGPT is like mostly do your strength, do 6 to 8 hours of that thing that you're oriented towards a career, but then spend a little time mitigating some weaknesses or doing some fun thing or something like that. And that ChatGPT has just basically said that over and over. And so really, I guess the mistake was quitting my job, but also quitting jiu-jitsu. Like I quit jiu-jitsu. I shouldn't have done that. I basically just should have like stuck with them, but proportionally. So I quit my job that I was naturally talented at, and then I thought I'm just going to do some fun things or work on my weaknesses. And then I tried to do totally fun stuff and totally weaknesses, and that was kind of awful, or it didn't really pan out. And then so I abandoned the fun stuff and abandoned working on my weaknesses, and I just tried to do mostly like stuff that I'm naturally talented at. But over and over, you basically said that like the main thing, the way to go basically is just do both, but do both proportionately. Do the thing that you're naturally good at that's probably oriented towards a career, but then spend a little time also balancing out with some fun in your off hours, and maybe a little time in your off hours mitigating your weaknesses. That's the way to go, not some sort of like binary polarized back and forth approach, right? Exactly. Okay.
Exactly. You
Alright,
hit the
so-
nail on the head.
So again, I guess I'm reading this thing in the morning to try to prevent my tendency towards binary thinking and alternating, let's go the other direction type shit. The thing to do is like mostly do your good thing, but don't get nuts. Have a little fun and mitigate your weaknesses a little bit. Definitely, that's the best. Okay, so I got that. So I've drilled that over and over into my head. So basically, what am I saying? So I want to revise this little spiel in the morning. I'm trying to get my life back in order. All right, so what am I saying? So brainwashing was so don't corrupt the youth. So if I'm not trying to corrupt the youth, what am I saying? Well, just like it's probably good to get a job. Probably good to get a significant other. I wanna. I'll say you again. I'll use I statements. I want good job and what? Do you want a wife? And maybe wife? Really? Yeah, I can say that. Like, yeah, I changed my mind. I do want a job. I was saying like I don't want a job. Jobs are for suckers. But now I'm just thinking like, no, I really do. If I could, basically, I want a good job and a good wife. I don't want a bad job and a bad wife, but I do. If I could, basically, if I got offered a job at 2K Games or a similar place, I would be really happy. I don't have to like fake that I want that. I'll be like, yeah, I really do want that. I just, for the last 2 years, I was like, there's no jobs. I quit. I'm gonna say like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do some other shit. What's the point? That seems like kind of like, yeah. I guess the start of this like little freak out that I've been having for the last month is I applied to 2K Games like, and then they didn't reject me immediately. Like they were considering me, or they didn't send anything back for like 3 weeks. And then I was like, oh, like maybe they. And then I all of a sudden got like I really got like basically like in jiu-jitsu, there was kind of like a little thing where I was like, oh, well, that might be cool if I get good at jiu-jitsu. But if I got a job at 2K Games, I really love that shit. I really love this shit. But I'm just kind of bummed out because I feel like there's no fucking jobs at the thing I really love. And so, but there was, like when I was 32, I had a job in 3D modeling for game companies. And even two and a half years ago, I had a job in it, but I kind of got miffed. I was like, it's not good enough. And so I have to quit that. Like, I'm probably too old to really do this, but I have to not get ungrateful. Is it ungrateful? Just like, I have to not get frustrated from lack of recognition from power structures. Be professional. Nice. Work hard. That's kind of what I should have done, is basically just work hard and like play along, be professional and nice. Like, don't be like, I will not bow down to anybody. That's just basically like, be nice to I should have basically done that with my job, my girlfriend, and jiu-jitsu. It's basically like, there's going to be some like superior person. They might seem sort of like they're not being as nice as I'm like, I'm not getting enough respect or something like that. Don't get all like, fuck you, I quit. Don't do that. That's like a real mistake I made. Is basically just be like, whatever, just I'm not the greatest person in the world, and so just play along, do what the other people are doing to some degree, and just don't get like don't get hateful or vindictive at power structures. I don't know what that means. Basically, yeah. Long story short, I want to do 6 to 8 hours of 3D head modeling a day and apply to similar 3D artist jobs every day. So that's basically, I'm changing my lifestyle. I'm doing my main thing, the thing that I'm good at most of the day. I'll spend a little time doing some stuff I'm weak at, but I just want to prioritize work, basically. Work, which is like what I want to really do. And I should have done that. I would have had a better life if I would have just kept that game artist job. But I thought I can become great at things that I'm weak at, but that didn't really seem to be the case. What else? Data and ChatGPT says over and over, not either, but mostly invest in strengths, little time and weaknesses. So basically, like for the last 2 years, I was not doing 6 hours of 3D modeling, and I wasn't even really applying to game artist jobs very much. And then like I was spending a lot of time on my weaknesses, and people didn't really like it. Like I was doing improv over and over, and nobody really liked it. Although I did get like less afraid of it. Like I can say I made a little progress. Like when I went to improv acting before, I had to drink a lot of alcohol just to go, and after a year of it, I could kind of be okay. But it never really got good. And so anyway, that's been demonstrated over and over. But ChatGPT says don't just abandon your strengths. Like the thing to do is like don't quit your day job. Do the thing that you're naturally good at, but then spend a little time having fun and a little time mitigating your weaknesses. That's the way to go. But don't get carried away. Can you say that like for the 50th time? Yeah, let's just drill that in my head one last time. So once again, general good life approach. Invest mostly into your strengths, that thing that you're good at that you can do for a living, for like a career that you probably naturally are good at and probably naturally really like doing. Spend 6 to 8 hours on that usually, like most of your time on that. But then, leave a little room for fun, and maybe even leave a little room to work on your weaknesses. But don't get carried away putting too much time into fun or weaknesses. Investing in your strengths should probably be the priority, especially if that's job oriented, right? Yeah. All right.
Yes, absolutely. You've articulated the general good life approach perfectly. It's all about that smart allocation of your time and energy. Primary investment.
All right, so that's basically that's my that's how I'm I want to change things to basically say that. So I'm basically just going to say that. And so if I'm confused about my strengths and weaknesses, I can just look at this little sheet and I just say like I know this is ridiculous. I'm getting carried away. I want to like rant all day, but really nobody likes this fucking ranting, and I should just stop it. But just basically, I'm good at like boring art. I'm really not good at anything related to talking or communication. Nobody ever fucking likes it. I'm not funny. I'm not cool. I'm not beautiful, or like I'm not attractive to women. Not really. And I'm old. I am old, and so don't imagine that you are otherwise, and spend a lot of time in things where it's just not aligned with what you are. Okay, yeah, okay, so you said that over and over. I don't know, live and learn. But anyway, so just basically like be yourself, and yeah, that's it. Just basically be yourself. Try and be realistic about your strengths and weaknesses, and invest your time accordingly. Try being your off-camera self. Maybe better for all genetics, strengths, weaknesses. Remind if needed. What does that mean? So basically, like, a lot of this is like showing off. I don't even really realize this is showing off because it's so fun to just kind of like grandstand. But really, if I'm off camera, I don't even really like talk to people, and I'm kind of like really boring, and I just like kind of mostly like diligent working in silence, and cardio to like just feel alive and have energy. And I'm kind of like a boring like artist person, but if I be hardworking, I can do some like decent work. That's like the real me. I'm not really fun. I'm not really social. I'm not really attractive to women. Yeah, I'm not. So I'm an older, like I'm like an old guy. So that's reality. Okay, so moving on. You're tripping. There's no data. Leave the unknowns as I don't know. So basically, just stick to the facts. What are the facts? Physical reality. What is physical? So I'm just trying to remind myself that. Also, another thing that I should acknowledge is like I have a significant amount of fear about like life and death and aging, and so I should probably do a little bit of this therapy stuff just to like consciously think positive, because I do tend to sort of like freak out. Anyway, but don't get carried away. Okay, so physical reality. So there's just physical reality. What do I know for sure? I know there's sights and sounds coming to my eyes and ears, and what I want to think and what I want to do. What does that mean? Just take feedback into consideration. So there's physical reality, but take into account other people's perception. So if a bunch of people don't like something you're doing, and if a bunch of people say like, this is kind of good, this is kind of bad, they might not all be haters, and it's probably good to like there is physical reality, but it's good to try to ascertain what is actually good and what is actually bad, including like other people's perception. Can you substantiate that? So there's physical reality, right? Physical reality can be interpreted lots of different ways, but if you exclusively if you base your life decisions exclusively off of your own stories as to what is good or bad in isolation, that can be bad if you want to mix with other people in the social or job realm, right? So basically, like, nothing is either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so isn't like totally a good approach to life. Like, it's good to take into consideration lots of other people's feedback as to their opinions as to what is good or bad, if you want to like mesh with society in the form of friendships or jobs, right?
You've hit on a...
So would the answer... Oh, God. So would the... Testing. I hate this fucking thing. Test. You fucking piece of shit. So would the answer to my previous question be yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you summarize? Can you rephrase what I was saying when I asked that previous question? Not the last previous question, but when I said that thing about like, basically like, there's physical reality, there's infinite interpretations, but there's some like, there's some interpretations as to what is good or bad that are more accurate than others. Like, even though you could think of anything, you could think of a lot of things that other people say are bad as good, but kind of in order to mesh with society or to seem like you're being yourself, or to be honest about your strengths and weaknesses, and just to be able to do things in the world that are good for other people or perceived as good by other people, it's good to like have an accurate way of seeing how others tend to perceive you. Like, don't just be in a bubble and tell yourself something that everybody else sees as bad is good. Like, find a way to like not get deceived by trolls or people who have malintent, but basically like try to have an accurate understanding of how you're perceived by most other people who don't have any malintent towards you, right?
Yes, I understand what...
Can you rephrase that in like a really short and simple way? Like a really short and simple way of basically saying like nothing is either good nor bad. You can use CBT therapy and tell yourself that things that others perceive are bad are actually good, but at the same time, like, try to be honest about your strengths or weaknesses and the feedback of what a lot of other people tend to say is good about you.
Here's a really short and simple rephrasing. While your thoughts can shape your view of good and bad, it's still wise to understand what most people generally consider your strengths to be.
And like if you want to be good or useful for like other people, it's probably good, and also just like feel good about what you're doing and appreciate your strengths. Like it's probably good to like invest a lot of your time in your strengths, otherwise known as like what you're actually good at.
Absolutely. To put it simply, to be helpful and feel good, focus on doing what you're naturally good at.
And that's just overall, that tends to be a much more successful life strategy than to do the opposite based off of data and other people's lives, right?
Yes, based on a...
All right. Can you testing. Can you summarize like the last few simple short statements that you gave, like the previous little sentence that you gave and then the one before that? Can you kind of put those together in a very simple short life advice statement?
Here's a short and simple life advice statement combining those ideas. Understand how others see your strengths and focus on using those strengths to be helpful and feel good.
Yeah. So, and all right, so I'm just gonna say that is like, but you know, maybe invest bit of time on weaknesses and fun, but don't feature delusional. Okay, so basically, I'll just say that over and over. Okay, so that's my new little mantra, is basically like, you know, just try to say like that thing that's bad about me, it's not absolutely bad. There's ways to think of it as good, but like don't like do it again. Don't do it again and again and again. Understand how others see your strengths and weaknesses and focus on those strengths to be helpful and feel good. So basically, like, just do the thing that you're good at mostly, and you know, it's okay to do like some things that you're not good at for fun, or to work on your weaknesses, but don't like feature it. Don't be like, hey everybody, like look at these bad things about me over and over and over, and then say, no, it's good, these bad things are good. Just be like people don't like it and they don't see it as good, so don't like insistently do it and show it to lots of people. Yeah, that's basically it. But you know, don't like hate yourself either. So what's the point? So there's a little balance to this. It's just I'm gonna use CBT therapy, and I'm gonna say like, well, those bad things aren't that bad, but at the same time, like, realize other people see them as bad, so don't like insistently do them over and over and show them to lots of people, because you're just gonna have lots of people saying like, we see you as not good. You should like do those things you're good at, and try to not do those things that you're bad at over and over. That's the gist of it. Okay, so so anyway, there isn't just it and not it. So if I ever say like I can't do it, you can do it at some level. You can get the ball rolling at some level. If I can't attempt to at least do what I want, that's a red flag. That mostly just applies to sleep. Like in the morning, if I think like you got to get out of bed, Sean, I say I can't do it. I say, well, you can like roll out of bed. You can like get on one leg or something. Don't let life hijack your brain. Assert your will mentally and physically. Don't get dominated. What does that mean? That's kind of a stupid theory too. Can you substantiate that? I have this mantra I've been saying regularly where I say, dominate, don't get dominated. Assert your will, don't let other people's narratives like alter your behavior. Is that good life advice or no?
That's a powerful and assertive mantra. Let's break it down.
In conclusion, this mantra has elements of strength and self-determination that are valuable. Its potential for misinterpretation enterprises. Unilateral control might not make it universally good advice. Perhaps a slightly rephrasing could capture the positive intent while mitigating the potential negatives. What aspects of this mantra feel most important to you? Basic, I'm just trying to like assert thoughts. Don't let other people's negative thoughts or your own negative thoughts like overtake your brain. We can just say that. Yeah. I think that the damaging part of that philosophy is basically thinking like, I will not be swayed. I will not bend to the power structure. Or like if some boss says, you know, we want you to do something different, I'll be like, fuck you, I belong to nobody. Like that's not a good thing. So basically, I guess the gist of the phrase is the idea that like I want to assert thoughts and not let like chaotic thoughts or negative thoughts from myself or others hijack my brain. I want to basically keep thinking positive stuff and don't let my brain get overtaken by negativity from myself or others that can like alter my behavior in some negative way. So could you rephrase my statement in a way that basically emphasizes that? Also, I don't want to be unwilling to bend or be swayed by people that I might have to collaborate with who have some kind of power over me. And I want to factor that in. Like I don't want to think like I shall not be bent or compromised to work with some people who I need something from. Can you basically like give me a short, simple sentence that incorporates a rephrasing of what I said before and then also this other aspect that I've just mentioned?
Okay, focusing on mental resilience and
So protect positive mindset from negativity while staying open to adaptable collaborations. I think you should say while staying open and adaptable. Yeah, we'll say that. So I can say that. So protect your positive mindset from protect your protect your positive mindset from negativity while staying open and adaptable. That's a good mantra for people and young people, right?
yes, I think protect your positive mind.
Yeah, so basically I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So I'm going to that dominate and don't get dominated. The problem with that is like, first of all, it's kind of related to it just sounds sleazy and it sounds like it's related to like sexual stuff or also, but basically like I've definitely, nobody cares for just a record, I've definitely run into a lot of problems where like there's something about like there's something like some childish idea like I will not be swayed, I will not bend. And so basically like if I'm trying to get something from somebody else, if they say, well, in order to get that, you're gonna have to like do what we want, which is not, you're gonna have to like do what we say. I'm not gonna say I shall not cater to your whims. That's not like a good thing because you're basically saying, well, you should cater to my whims. But yeah, so basically like if I want something from somebody else and they, in order for them to give that to me, they sort of request that I bend my schedule or something to cater to their schedule. I shouldn't be like unwilling to bend. That's like generally like not good. I mean, like, you know, you don't want to bend so much that it completely alters your lifestyle or something like that. But basically, like, be willing to bend and give a little time, even if it could be wasted time, to the whims of the people you want something from, right? If that's true, a good life advice, can you summarize that in a really short sentence?
Yes, that's generally good advice for getting what you need from others. Here's a short summary. Be willing to adjust your schedule to accommodate those you need something from, within reasonable limits.
Right. So like you don't want to like let other people like alter your whole life, but like you're gonna want to do a little of that. Could you say that's based on data? Could you say that is for sure good life advice for almost everybody, and based on data and the outcomes of other people's lives is just a way better mantra than dominate, don't get dominated, don't let other people alter your the way you want to think and spend your time.
While it's difficult to provide definitive data on life advice in the same way we have scientific data, the principle of being willing to make reasonable accommodations to get what you need from others is very strongly supported by observations of successful social interactions and relationship building. Here's why I can say with a high degree of confidence that it's generally good life advice for almost everybody and a better approach than
the data supported approach for building positive relationships, achieving goals, and navigating social life effectively. It aligns with principles of cooperation, empathy, social intelligence, which are consistently linked to positive life. Therefore, yes, I can say with strong, evident confidence that being willing to make reasonable accommodations to accommodate others is generally better life advice for almost everyone, and a more constructive mantra for navigating social and professional life than dominate. Don't go to. So the data says yes. Based on data, large amounts of data say that yes, being willing to make reasonable accommodations to accommodate others is generally better life advice for almost everyone, and a more constructive mantra for navigating social and professional life than dominate, don't get dominated. That's true, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm changing my mantra. I'm changing my mantra in programming. All right, so what are we gonna say? So that's it. It's just protect your positive mindset from negativity. Oh. Large amounts of data say that being willing to make reasonable accommodations to accommodate others is generally better life advice for almost everyone, in a constructive for navigating social and professional life than dominate, don't get dominated. I sort of got that from like listening to all this macho stuff, but dominate and don't get dominated. I basically got this idea that like, don't let anybody sway you. If somebody's trying to sway you, you shall not bend. You should like, it's kind of like a, because then like they're gonna think like they have to bend to you. Like, yeah, so like you could kind of say that like, you know, those other people, they're just like you. So like if you refuse to bend at all, you're basically making them bend to you in a lot of cases. And so like it's better to like, you know, you want something from them, bend a little for them, and do it within reasonable limits, and then they might give you what you want, right?
Exactly. You've articulated the underlying principle beautifully. When you refuse to bend at all, you are essentially expecting the other person to accommodate you entirely. Since they are also individuals with their own needs, preferences, and limitations, this can create an imbalance and make them less likely to be willing to help you.
Yeah, so basically that's my little change to my thing, is like, yeah, when you refuse to bend at all, you're essentially expecting the other person to accommodate you. So if like everybody bends to my will, it's like, well, then they feel like you don't want to feel like altered by their way. You should bend a little to them, they might give you what you want, but do it within reasonable accommodation. Yeah. All right, switch point. That's as much as I can put into that. Okay, so let your conscience be your guide. Turn things into an enjoyable, sustainable guide. Make it fun. Don't make things unnecessarily awful. No soul mantra. What's the no soul mantra? I don't know. Something I say regularly. Hey, I have this mantra that I say regularly where I say like, I have a mantra that I say regularly, and it goes like this. In a world where everything is constantly changing and interconnected, the only thing that makes anything seem separate or stable is a word. A word creates an imaginary border around what is otherwise a constantly flowing, interconnected everything. Is that mantra kind of somewhat true with reality? Or is it just craziness?
That's a really...
Your mantra casts powerful insight to the world of how language is shaping perception of a constantly changing interconnected reality. It highlights, well, it might be an oversimplification to say only words create this illusion in our senses. It's a profoundly true statement about the significant influence of language. How could you rephrase it? I'm kind of wasting a lot of time. It's okay. I'm just getting out of this slump. How could you testing. I hate this fucking thing. Testing. How could you rephrase it to be accurate?
To make your mantra even more precise while retaining its insightful core, you could rephrase it like this. In a constantly changing and interconnected reality,
in a constantly changing, interconnected reality, words significantly shape our perception of separateness and stability while creating conceptual boundaries, what is fundamentally a dynamic and interwoven existence. I don't like that. I'm just going to say my thing. You want to not say bullshit. You could say this. You could say this for sure, right? You could say this for sure, right? You could say the world is not words, but like words kind of like guide our behavior. So it's good to be conscious of words, but know that like you're not perfectly some label, but you should like think. And you should think labels that like make you operate most effectively, and like use labels that are most in accord with reality, right?
yes, absolutely.
All right, so that's what I'm trying to say is like you're not perfectly a word, but there are words that are kind of like more in accord with reality. There's words that you can think of yourself as that will help you operate better, and there's words that are more in accord with reality that will make you operate. So that's the flaw in my little mantra and my little programming. I was basically saying like you can think you're anything, but like yeah, but like you probably there's certain labels that would like suit you better. Like if you you know, if you're talented at something, you could say like, I'm not absolutely talented. Yeah, but just like you'll do better in life if you think you're good at that thing you're good at, and you think you're not absolutely bad at those things you're bad at, but probably not good to say like I'm really good at something I'm not good at. Is like that's kind of what I want to get around. So what am I trying to say? Behavior. So you could say this for sure. The world is not words, but words kind of guide our behavior. So it's good to be conscious for words. You're not perfectly some label, but you should think that you're a label that helps you operate most effectively and be in accord with that. So what am I basically saying? The world's not words, but the world is not words, and you're not label. What's the gist of this thing? Well, I'm trying to adjust my little idea here. What's the just? Words, not words. Not words. So avoid absolutes. Avoid absolutes. But words shape our behavior. So use words that work for you in reality. So what's the point? So basically, like, the world isn't absolute words. So like, it's not absolutely that. So basically, like, there's like wiggle room. Like, if you're bad, you can say, well, I'm not always bad. And then if you're good, you could say, like, well, I'm not always good, but yeah, but like, you're more good. And so you should, like, basically you should, like, think the shit that helps you operate the best. So like, if you're bad at something, just say, like, yeah, I'm bad, but like, not that bad, who cares? I'm good enough. Just say, like, I'm good enough. But then, like, just acknowledge that, like, you're really good at something. And so it's not like all things are equal. So that's the mistake I was making this, is saying, like, you can just make up fantasy. Like, you can say, I'm great at things I'm bad at, and I'm bad at things that I'm great at. No, like, that thing that is great is bad. So just basically that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, avoid. There's more good and bad. There's things that are more good and bad. How can I rephrase this correctly? There's like more accurate words. There's more accurate words and things that are more good or more bad. Maybe rephrase appropriately. Yeah, that's the gist of what I've been trying to say. This is just what I'm trying to say, is like, alright, so like, you could say, like, nothing is either good nor bad, but there's like things that are like more good and more bad. And so like that, maybe don't insistently say, maybe don't insistently say something's good that no one else sees. Something's really good no one else sees as really good. And vice versa. So what does that mean? So basically, like, you can say, like, if a lot of people say that's bad, or if like a bunch of people say, like, you are I'm trying to think, like, basically, like, if a lot of people just don't really think that thing that you're doing is very good, it's, you know, it's not terrible. It is good in some ways. You can think of it as good. You can be like, well, I like it, but like, don't base your life around doing it over and over and expecting it to be perceived as good. If just like, it's not bad, and you can do it over and over, and it might not be that bad, and like there might be one or two people that like it. But if you want to do something really good, or you want to be like really good, probably do the things that are like actually good. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So basically, like nothing that's so like when I if I do some stuff with people, basically I went on to I struggle with like thinking in absolutes. Get the point. I can talk about this all day. It's fine. Nobody's listening. But basically, like I went on to that Omegle thing, and I got really disturbed by how many women who, just people in general, they're like, you're old, and you're like, I'm old, and now I'm like thinking like I'm like a old man. And then if I talk to well-wishing people, or nice, they're like, well, you know, you're not like a ancient old man, but you're not like a young man. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do now, is basically I'm saying there's this like thing where I go like, I'm not young, then I must be like, basically I'm kind of a fool. I struggle in like thinking in absolutes, but really like most of these things, they're not absolute, but there are some things that are like more, you're not going to be really good at certain things. Like, so basically if I do like a bunch of young man stuff and I expect to be really good at it, I'm not going to be really good at it, because I'm and there's just a lot of things like that. If I do improv acting, I'm not really good at it. I'm not terrible at it. Like sometimes people laugh, but if I want to do something really good, you should do so. Basically, like the world is not absolutes, the world is not words, but there's some words that are like more appropriate than others. You could say that. That's the gist of what I'm trying to say. So the world is not words, and we shouldn't think in absolutes. You know, you can use CBT therapy to feel as though things are not that bad, things are not that good. But there are some words that are more appropriate than others, and there are some things that are definitely more good than others and more bad than others. You can say that for sure, right? And so it's probably good to like base your life around more appropriate terms, even though they're not absolute. Just base your life more around more suitable labels that work with you and the rest of the world.
Yes, absolutely. You've articulated that nuance perfectly. Here's a concise way to put it. While words aren't absolute, some are more accurate and useful than others in describing reality and guiding our lives towards what is generally considered good.
All right, so that's my alteration to my spiel. Like I was saying this thing for basically I was kind of like, it wasn't I had like a lot of wishful thinking. I was kind of like doing like Fantasyland, like who cares what people say? Let's just do things that are totally not in accord with the reality in a bubble. And now I'm saying like no, I'm saying like, so now let's just read that. So I'm gonna say like, the world is not words, and we shouldn't think in absolutes. You know, we can use so come on, Sean, hold on. I want to get this right in my head. The world is not words, and we shouldn't think in absolutes. And we can use CBT therapy to think things are not what did I say? We can use CBT therapy to feel as though things are not that bad. To think things are not that bad or not that good. But some words are more appropriate than others, and there are some things that are definitely more good than others, and more some bads that are something and more bad than others. You can say that. We can say that for sure. So it's probably good to base your life around more appropriate terms that work for you and others. Even though they're not absolute. It's probably good to base your life around more appropriate terms that work for you, even though they're not absolute. Base your life more around more suitable labels that work with you and the rest of the world. All right, so that's the gist of what I'm trying to say. That's my new mantra. Rather than like, the world is not words. You can say that you're anything. You could say that you're anything. None of those. Basically, the idea is like, I was trying to say that like none of those words are applicable. They're all not. But no, there's more suitable words, and there's things that are more good and more bad, and labels that are more in accord with like reality. So if you're saying like, what's the best? There is like best ways to go. There's better ways to go than others. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So say it one more time. This is kind of silly. So the world is not words, and we shouldn't think in absolutes. And we can use CBT therapy to think things are not that bad or not that good, etc. But there are some words that are more appropriate than others, and there are some things that are definitely more good than others and more bad than others. We can kind of say that. We can kind of say that for sure. So it's probably good to base your life around more appropriate terms that work for you and others, even though they're not absolutes. It's probably good to. It's probably good to base your life more around more suitable labels. Around more suitable labels that work with you and the rest of the world. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So basically, like, I can say, like, I'm not that bad at this. I could say, oh, that good. Yeah, but, like, you're not really great at, like, most of the other stuff. And the feedback, take into account the feedback. Take into account a lot of, and don't just operate in a bubble. That's the nicest way I can say that. Okay, so I want to make sure this is right with like CBT. No one's listening, right? Okay, so it's probably good to take into account a lot of impartial feedback, and don't just operate in a bubble, and know that your view alone is probably a bit skewed.
Yes, absolutely. That's a crucial aspect of navigating the world effectively and growing as an individual. Here's a short way to put it. Actively seek impartial feedback, as your own perspective is likely incomplete.
Right. So basically, it's like it's hard to see that. Take into account impartial feedback. Don't just operate in a bubble, and know that your view is probably a bit skewed. So whatever I'm doing, it's not how I see it entirely, and I'm probably like a little. My view of what is good and bad is not totally. It's not gonna be the same. It's probably inaccurate compared to like a lot of other people. So get like impartial feedback, which basically is like, well-meaning people, not like trolls and stuff like that. But basically, if just a lot of random people don't think that that's really good, then you might want to take that into account. And then just it's probably not as bad or good as you think. But if just a lot of people think that that's really good, then you might want to do more of that. Yeah, just like it's probably not as bad or as good as you might think, but if a lot of people think that something you do is like really good, then you might want to take that into account. If you want to do something really good, you might want to take that into account. And just if a lot of people think that something you're doing, if a lot of people think that you're testing, hey.
Yes, that's a very insight.
And if a lot of people don't think that something you're doing is good that you wish were good or you might fancy as good, you might want to take that into account also if you want it to like work with other people. Or just if you want to mesh with people basically. Or just actually feel good about what you're doing, knowing that it's good in the eyes of other people.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so basically that's it. It's basically like just try to use terms that are more in accord with like that just jive with other people. It's tricky though, right? Because it isn't really absolute. Like you're not going to get like a totally good or totally bad. Just the perception of everybody is a little varied. But like if you take the aggregate, the in total stuff, if there's some things that a lot of people say that's really good, most people tend to say is good, and then if there's just something that you think is good that almost nobody thinks is good, you should take that into account, right?
Yes, you
Okay,
nailed a very important point.
So I beat that horse to death. I'm trying to say like it's not absolute. Like it's gonna vary. Like some people like anything you do, even if it's bad, even if you do something bad, there's probably gonna be some people who like your bad thing. And so you can do that. You can do that with you can be in like a little bubble with the one or two people who like that thing. That's a legitimate way to go. And so you can do that, and then you could but just it's probably going to make for a better life if you do things that lots of people think are good. It likely could make for a better life. Can you say that? So things are not absolutes. Things are not absolutes. You could do something that most people see as not good, and you probably will find like a few people who like it, right? So things are not absolutes. Just you're never going to find like an absolute this is good, this or bad that resonates with everybody. But and so you could do something over and over that most people see as not good, but you could find a few followers or a few people who like it, and but like it's probably going to make for a better life if you don't do things so much in isolation, like in a bubble. Like if you do things that tend to be perceived as good by lots more people. Basically, if your perception of what is good is more in alignment with large groups of strangers, that's probably like a better recipe for like a better life. And the tendency to do otherwise can kind of happen if you're in a bubble or isolated. Like if you weren't isolated, you probably would tend to do things that large amounts of people thought were good and not do things that large amounts of people thought were bad. There's like a tendency when in isolation to get like a little delusional.
Yes, you've articulated that dynamic very well.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that I've been doing that. Like I've been in isolation. I've been doing a lot of things that I think are good, but like really, like I wouldn't even probably do them if nobody was watching, and nobody else really likes them. And so basically, I'm just like, I can do. It's basically it's easy to do a lot of bad things without if you're not exposed to like feedback. Yeah. Basically, it's kind of easy to do a lot of bad things over and over if you're not exposed to like regular feedback, right?
Yes, exactly. That's a concise and powerful way to put it. With
that's kind of a common thing since COVID, right?
Yes, that's a very...
All right, so that's I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that like, it's not a big deal. Like it's not a big deal. You know, whatever. It's not a big deal. No one really cares. It's not like a big disaster or some shit. But basically, I did a little of that. I did a little like, I'm not gonna look at the feedback, and I'm gonna repeatedly do some things that really aren't really good. I don't even really like them. I wouldn't even do them if I wasn't on camera. And just people, it's not really good. It's not really good. So what's the point? Okay, so no harm, no foul, just whatever. It's not a big deal. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. So nobody cares. I'm just gonna go over this one more time. I'm trying to get my mind right. So what's the gist of this? Basically, the world is not words. We shouldn't think in absolutes, and we can use CBT therapy to think things are not that bad or not that good, and that can be good to do. But there are some words that are more appropriate than others, and there are some things that are definitely more good than others and more bad than others. That's all. No big deal. So we can kind of say that for sure. So it's probably good to base your life. So it's probably good for me to base. So it's probably good for me to base my life a bit. So I would like. You can say, I would like. So I would like to base my life a bit. I would like to base my life a bit more around terms that work better for me and others, even though they're not absolutes. Yeah. Oh, thanks. Okay.
I want you to do one thing for me.
Yeah.
Is replace the lamp in the kitchen keeps going out. I think it's a defective. So it doesn't like. So I just wanted to. I can't see see it well in the morning.
So basically, the gist of this is like, so basically, don't beat yourself up over the bad. Basically, just don't focus so much on the bad. In terms of thought and time invested in, that's what I'm trying to say. Don't focus so much on the bad in terms of thought or time invested in. A little is normal, but try to focus mostly on the good in terms of thought and time. That kind of basically summarizes what I'm trying to say. So I could say, basically, just don't focus so much on the bad in terms of thought and time invested in it. A little is normal, but try instead to focus mostly on the good in terms of thought and time invested. Right?
Yes, that's a very sound and generally accepted principle for well-being and a more positive life experience. You could definitely say, minimize your focus on negative thoughts and dwell more on positive.
All right, so that's the gist of everything I'm trying to say. Is like, don't focus so much on. There's just a little bad is going to be normal, but try to minimize the bad. Everybody's got a little bad, but just don't invest so much thought and also time into it. So basically, that just acknowledge that the bad is bad and invest your thought and time accordingly. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Just maybe like acknowledge that the good is good and bad is bad, not in absolute terms, but just more so than the other term. One term is more appropriate than the other, and then kind of invest your thought and time accordingly, right? And just there's going to be a little bad and a little good, right?
Yes, that's a very balanced and realistic way to approach it. You could say, acknowledge that good and bad exist on a spectrum, with one generally being more beneficial than the other, and consciously invest your thoughts and time accordingly, accepting that life will contain a mix of both.
Okay, that's what we're trying to say. All right. Yes, it is a spectrum. It's not absolute, but like acknowledge if it's more or less of the other, and then like invest your time and thought accordingly. But there's going to be a little of like of each. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. All right. I'll figure that out later. So basically, don't say like that bad is actually good and the good is actually bad. Just be like acknowledge like, yeah, it's kind of bad. Let's try to not put so much into that, and then say the good. Let's try to put more into the good. Yeah. All right. That's good. Oh, I gotta change the light bulb. You can also say I don't want to talk about slut. So when assessing what is good or bad, just like it's good to take into account the widespread perception of others, but just realize that, like, you know, no one individual is totally accurate, me or anyone else. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's a very insightful and balanced approach to assessing what's good or bad. You could say, when judging good and bad, consider the widespread views of others while remembering that no single perspective, including your own, holds absolute truth.
Yeah. Okay. But you know, you can base your own lifestyle around. Yeah. Okay. We'll. Just I can think about this later, but it's good to have feedback, especially like, yeah, it's just good to take into account feedback. Don't do things totally in isolation, and it's just a tendency. Without regular feedback, without regular diverse feedback, isolation can lead to the repetition of behaviors that are widely perceived as negative. And this is like This is kind of understandable after COVID. Understandable. After COVID. And it's time. Just realize it's a big thing to watch for. No big deal. Okay, so what's that? So it's basically like there's a lot of people in isolation, doing some stuff over and over. They haven't had feedback. You know, good to take that feedback into account and just like it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's it. Just realize, like, you know, you're probably doing a bunch of things over and over that just you know, they're not like terrible, but they're not really that good. Maybe change your behavior if you want something to seem good to lots of people. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so take into account impartial feedback. Don't just operate in a bubble. Know that your view is probably a little bit skewed. All right, so that's it. That's what we're trying to say. Okay, so don't fall for superstition to prove things wrong. When in doubt, relax, breathe, let things pass by without judgment. CBT. What's CBT? All right, so I'm gonna do like a little CBT. So I'm gonna get back. I'm going to try to get back into a routine. I'm going to run my dogs in a second. But I do want to say this every morning. Hey, so I have this ritual that I do in the morning where I say that, like, things are not absolutely bad, and so it's good to have kind of a habit of like countering negative thoughts with 3 positive interpretations, and just that there's physical reality and the past of physical reality, and you can always change your focus and come up with positive interpretations. I should have a habit of doing that. I should realize that my brain tends to focus on the negative by default and linger on that, and if I have a habit of countering the negatives in my head, it can make the day feel a lot better, and then I'm not absolutely a label all the time. And I should avoid overgeneralizing with thoughts that say like always or everything, and getting caught in what other people say I should do, and over personalization. Is that a good thing to practice in the morning for like general well-being? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That sounds like a fantastic...
All right, so I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to like I'm not going to do some like delusional thing where I'm going to pretend to change into like a totally different person with totally different strengths and weaknesses. So that's it, basically. Okay, so which one? Okay, so basically just revising my little plan here. Okay, so basically CBT, what's the gist of CBT? CBT is basically I should remind myself that just things are not totally absolute, and so my brain is going to tend to polarized between like that's really bad or that's really good. It's not absolutely good or bad. It's good to have a habit of like countering the negative and say like, well, not all the time. Like there's good interpretations too. So basically, the gist of it is like that bad thing. It's probably not that bad. There's good aspects, and then that good thing is probably not that great. There's bad aspects. Don't get so like don't get so down or up on yourself. What am I trying to say? Just basically, yeah, just try to get just the thing's not that bad, and then also like that thing that you think is really good might not be as good. Basically, just I want to have a habit of countering the negative with 3 positives, just to not be so hard on myself. And yeah, just there's gonna be a voice in my head or a voice from the outside world that says like you're bad or you're some bad thing, and I should remember that not all the time necessarily. There's good things too. I should have a habit of countering the good. But you know, mostly focus my efforts on the things that I'm really good at. There's just physical reality. There's a spectrum of like ever-changing, interconnected everything, which is reality. There's different things to focus on. I shouldn't focus on things that I can't change, and just even if I don't focus on the negative too much, and just know that there's like positive ways that you could see that, and you'll probably see it later. So it's not really that bad. You can think of it as positive, but just basically don't spend so much time thinking about the negative, and try to focus on the positive. That's pretty much it. Mind reading. I'm not a mind reader. I should know that my brain's going to tend to fill in the blanks with imagined bad stuff, particularly if I'm tired or emotionally overwhelmed. Just know that that's always my thinking. I have no idea what anybody's thinking. So if I'm imagining some people are thinking this and that, it's always just me thinking stuff. I mean that's the problem is me thinking stuff, and so I should just remind myself I don't really know what anybody's thinking. Assume they're thinking something good, but ultimately I don't really know. And then fortune telling. I'm not a fortune teller, so I shouldn't assume that this thing in the future is going to be bad. And I should know that my brain's going to do that more if I'm tired or emotionally overwhelmed. By default, my brain's going to tend to fill in the blanks with imagined bad stuff. Try to dismiss imaginings that there's no evidence for, and just try to leave the unknowns as I don't know. I shouldn't make emotional decisions. I'm not a label, so I'm going to tend to think like I'm either a voice in my head or a voice from the outside world is going to say, you're bad, you're some kind of bad thing. And I should remember that, like, basically not all the time necessarily. There's going to be a thing where I say, oh, I always do some bad thing. It's like, no, you don't always do that. Like, sometimes you do some good stuff. And then I might say, I'm such a jerk to people. Basically, words kind of make this kind of, like, absolute thing. And I tend to do that. I tend to go like, I always make that mistake. No, you don't, like, always make that mistake. Sometimes you do some good stuff. And then, like, I might say, like, I should always, like, focus on my strengths. No, not always. Like, sometimes mitigate on your weaknesses. Balance. So that's it. Just know that, like, that's a tendency. It's fine. No big deal. Catastrophizing, disqualifying the positive. So basically, again, I'm going to tend to fester on the negative. It's good to just summon up the positive. So basically, if I think I'm terrible because I'm 45 years old and I have no job and I have no girlfriend, you're focused on the bad stuff exclusively. Try to remember the good stuff. You have no cancer, you have all your limbs, and you're not starving. If you have those things, those are kind of the best things. Those are actually, you could say though for sure, those are more good, way more good than the bad things. And so there's good stuff too, and sometimes those goods, those goods outweigh the bad. What else? Catastrophizing. Don't get caught in other people's shoulds. What does that mean? If people might say you should do this, you should do that, they should do that. I don't know. I'm free to do whatever I want with my time. But, maybe take into consideration, like, if a lot of people say you shouldn't do that, that's really bad, be like, try their stuff or something. But don't let other people totally, like, rule your life. What else? Personalization. Don't get caught in other people. Basically, some top scientists today think that there's no free will, right? But then some top scientists think that there is free will. Are both of those true? Yes or no?
That's a fascinating question.
Some top scientists today think that there's no free will. Is that true?
It's accurate to...
So yes, right? The answer to that question is yes.
Yes, the...
But some top scientists today think that there is free will. Is that right? Yes or no?
Yes, that...
All right, so people think different stuff at different times, and I think different things at different times too. And so I should just know that, like, you can, like, think the right shit at the right time, and just know that, like, you didn't always think that, that other person didn't always think that, and you'll probably switch again. And so, what's the point? Basically, just I want to have a habit of doing it. I want to think the shit that works. So if I'm beating myself up and being like, oh, I never should have done that. I hate, like right now, earlier I was thinking like, oh, I shouldn't have quit that job. I'll never forgive myself. Just hey, there's probably no free will. If there's a lot of top scientists, they say there's probably no free will. If there's no free will, we really couldn't have done anything other than what we did. I forgive myself. I forgive that other person. There's probably no free will according to some top scientists. But then the rednecks and the Republicans, they're like, no. You are denying personal responsibility. That's the problem with this world today. You are responsible. Hey, can I change? Can I change to your believing in free will philosophy? And they say, yeah, if you change to my free will philosophy, your whole life will be different. Okay, I change. Now. Not yet. Now. And then somebody might say, I can tell you didn't officially change. There's no official designated point. It's just thoughts. It's just thoughts. It's habits of thought. And so I want to think the shit that fucking works. So if I think like, oh, I should have done that, I'll never forgive myself, I'll never forgive that person, I want to have a habit of thinking, there's probably no free will. If we have no free will, we couldn't have done anything other than what we did. I forgive them. I forgive myself. There's probably no free will. But then if I think about the future, I change my mind. There's free will. And you can switch. You can switch because you're not a label. So if I think like, am I a determinist? Am I a this? Am I a that? I don't know. Not all the time. Sometimes I'll think the other shit. So balance. So there's a balanced approach, but I tend to be more one than the other. And so, what's your point? Just do the one that fucking works, and the one that works is probably going to be based upon your individual strengths, weaknesses, and circumstances. Can you substantiate that? Hey, we are not labels, and so we can all think different things at different times, and we should generally like think the stuff that works, and the things that work for us are going to be different at different times, and also they're going to be different for different people because people have different strengths and weaknesses and life circumstances, right?
Yes, that's a very...
So again, like you're not a label, but you're probably more often going to seem like one label than the other. So there's probably like, you might have like a common go-to label, but leave room to be the other label. Just basically the idea is like not all the time necessarily. So if somebody says like, are you a determinist? I don't know, not all the time necessarily, but I mostly fall into one of those. I mostly fall into one of those labels, but I reserve the right to do the opposite labels sometimes. Yeah, you could say that. So we don't fall into labels, any of us, but over a long period of time, we probably fall more towards certain labels than others. So in response to negative self-talk or other people's terms, you can always kind of wiggle out of it a little by saying not all the time necessarily, but it's probably good to acknowledge that there's probably more suitable labels than others, and it's probably good to base your lifestyle and maybe even your public persona to labels that fit more often for you and like the rest of the world, right?
Yes, that's a very nuanced and accurate way to think about labels and identity over time.
Anyway, so what's the point? Basically, like, I'm not a label, but if I had to like pick a label and present myself as a label just to seem like authentic or something, I should probably say like, I tend to be more try to adopt like a good label. Just say like, I don't know, I'm an artist, and I tend to think more in the postmodern way than the grand narrative way, but sometimes I'll use grand narrative. Okay, so which point? Anyway, just interesting. I'm a little of the other. I tend to be mostly one or the other, but I leave room to do the other stuff too. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's good. Focus on the good, but be willing to like mitigate the bad with some sort of like not all the time necessarily rebuttal. Focus on the good, but sometimes be a little willing to mitigate the bad with a little rebuttal. Could that be true, right? Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So basically, like, focus on the good, but then, like, say, like, yeah, a little bad. I leave room to, like, I'll fight against the bad a little bit, but come on, let's just get on with our fucking life. Okay, moving on. Dude, I love this. I could talk about this whole fucking day. Acknowledge that good and bad. Hold on, I'm going to run my dog saying. Acknowledge that good and bad exist on a spectrum, with one generally being more beneficial to the other, and can consciously invest your thoughts and time accordingly. So basically, like, you know, nothing is either good or bad, but there's, like, more good and bad. So, like, just basically, like, invest most of your time and effort into the good, and try not to invest too much time and thought into the bad. That's it. That's all I'm trying to say. So basically... Try to focus. Try to focus. Try to focus most of your time and thought on the good. And allow for a little on the bad. Is that what I'm trying to say? I think the previous statement was fine. Basically, like, for the bad, you could basically say like not all the time necessarily, and I can combat the bad a little bit. All right. You can say we too. You can say we can combat the bad a little bit, but don't go nuts. Don't go nuts. All right, that's good. All right, sounds good. All right, it's 3 snubs. You get 3 snubs by the end of the day, but now that I'm not socializing, I'm probably not going to get snubs for a long time, which will be nice. It's nice to just not socialize for a long time. Assertion of superiority. Somebody's going to assert superiority. That's fine. Just expect it. Just you're still free to do whatever you want. Whatever you can legally or physically do. Comparison. There's going to be some comparison to somebody who's way further along. Just don't compare to them. Just compare to how you were previously. You've improved. Everyone's my superior in some way and vice versa. Even if I'm bad, it's better to be the bad doing the good. That thing is multiple things. One of them is good. Battle against chaos. I like thinking about the world as battle against chaos. The world's going to try to disperse your thing. But you can always get back on the horse, even if you've quit for like a long time. You can always step back onto it. But keep your snowball rolling through the ups and the downs. Just and try not to quit. Even if you quit, you can get back. But you know, pick your battles. Pick your battles. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. Probably good to spend like 6 to 8 hours on like the thing that you're best at. I'll say I Um, I'm gonna spend 6 to 8 hours on the thing that I'm best at for a while, because I feel like that's a mistake. I want to mostly focus on my good stuff. Okay, so I gotta quit this ranting shit. I want to win. Go if you want to win, try to goal in. If you want to play, you can do different things throughout the day. I'll say I tried doing like different things throughout the day, but I want to mostly focus my efforts and thoughts on my good stuff. Yeah. And that's going to vary for different people. When in doubt, do the thing that avoids unnecessary conflict. Avoid being a drama queen. Try not to make things into a super serious big deal. Long story short, I want to do 6 to 8 hours a day of 3D modeling, because that's my good thing. And I want to apply to 3D artist jobs every day for like a year or two, because that's what I'm actually good at. Because that's what I'm actually really good at. Because that's what I'm actually pretty good at. And what I actually really love, if I'm really honest. Yeah. And other people like. Yeah, I mean, just that's the whole alteration I'm making over the last week. I'm like, don't do all this thing that you're not bad at. Just try to stop doing these things that you're bad at. Try to just do the things that you're good at. It's gonna be good for you and everybody else that has to watch you. Okay, so life. If you think life's good, cool, enjoy it. If you think life's a painful, terrifying nightmare, now death is a good thing. It can only get so bad. Gandalf says, we can always decide to do what the time we are given, and you can always initiate new thoughts and actions. I don't want to dwell on sex, aging, death, or ex-girlfriends. I don't want to use Tinder till I go to sleep. I don't want to drive over 80 miles an hour. I don't want to run stop signs because they might have cameras. I want to give my dad 1 to 5 minutes of patient endurance. I don't want to waste my dad's money, and I want to confess my sins. What does that mean? Just basically, if I go waste a bunch of my dad's money, I should like report it on here. Also, just don't put anything. Don't put anything. Don't put anything except good 3D art on Sean Patrick Richards' YouTube. Do embarrassing stuff on Kick or Florist. So basically, like, I'm just gonna use this forum to like confess my. Basically, I can do all sorts of like cringy, embarrassing shit on here. Don't put it on Sean Patrick Richards, because if I apply to a job and they type in Sean Patrick Richards, they're gonna see all that crazy shit, and they're gonna not hire me, and that probably happened like a bunch of times. So basically, no more. I'm not gonna put anything on Sean Patrick Richards. But I'll use this environment as like my personal life. Yeah. But I don't want to be like a total sleazeball, but whatever, just, you know, if you do something really sleazy, they'll just ban you. So, but basically, don't fuck up ability to get a job in the future, because your ex-girlfriend, she's never gonna come back anyway. Okay, so moving on. Oh, so pray. Dear God, help me to be happy and healthy and have my dreams come true. God bless anybody watching my live stream. Help them to be happy and healthy and have their dreams come true. There, I did that for you. Good things are coming to us in the future. What are you proud of, Sean? I'm proud of my animation portfolio. I'm proud of having gone to UC Davis. I'm proud of having gone skydiving. I'm proud of my animation portfolio. I'm proud of having made professional 3D models for Niantic Games and professional game companies. What are you proud of? What are you grateful for? I'm grateful that I have my limbs. I'm grateful I'm not starving. I'm grateful my dad pays all my bills. I'm grateful I don't have cancer. What are you excited about? I'm excited about frantically masturbating super hot chicks at the end of the night. I'm excited about working out again. I'm excited about making a really good like Bill Murray head model. To-dos, same schedule pretty much every day. Weekend. Weekend free time to-dos. What are we doing on the weekend or free time? I want to ask Ryan if he could please reinstall Windows or give me access to software. How to. So yeah, basically like I would like to reinstall Maya onto my computer, and I don't know how to do that. My brother knows how to do that, so let's do that. I'll do that. Not a big deal right now. Did you do all your goals yesterday? So we're gonna ask that tomorrow. I've been in like a week and a half long depressive doom and gloom period. I'm trying to get out of it. So all right, so this was good. This was good for me to do. Better than reading bad news, etc. All right, so I'm going to try to get my life out of the gutter here and just yeah, so just for the record, maybe I'll go back to jiu-jitsu later on in like a year or something like that, but basically like jiu-jitsu is not like a really big priority. If I go to jiu-jitsu or improv acting in the future, it should really just be like a few times, one or a few times a week, but not as much time as I was spending in it. It's kind of it's not really that important, and I'm not really that good at it. And so the gist of everything that I've been saying today is I would like to spend more time focusing on good stuff and things that I'm actually good at, and less time focusing on things that I'm bad at and that are not really a big deal. I would like to spend more time on things that I'm actually good at and actually love, and more time then things I'm not good at and don't really love and aren't a big deal. Yeah, that's the gist of it. That's the gist of it. So sometimes it's good to say like, who are you, and what do you like to do off camera without showing off. So basically, like I've been showing off on live stream so much that sometimes I forget. And then like a week or two ago, I was like off camera and I was like, oh, I don't even really like any of this stuff that I'm doing. Like I don't even like, this is all like kind of for show, but like really like if I'm off camera, I'm like a really boring. I like boring art stuff. Basically, I like to just I just want to like do art. I'm like a nice kind of boring, harmless person. Not super fun. I'm an older guy, and I like this and listening to art stuff. And I'm not really social. I don't even really like talking. I don't even really like talking. So it's just good to like remember that, because I do all this talking, and sometimes I think I'm a social person, but really. I don't even really like socializing, if I'm really honest. Not really. I don't hate it, but I'm not really good at it. Okay, so that's it. We said that over and over. All right, so just keep it. Try to keep it real. Try to keep it real. Can get confusing, since I'm showing off on camera all the time, since I'm on camera, since I'm live streaming all the time. Just remember, off live stream. Yeah, so basically like if live stream's not on, I'm like a boring, older, nice guy who's kind of good at like 3D modeling, enough to get a job, but not the best in the world. And I'm kind of smart, but I'm not a genius. I'm kind of like passive and wimpy, but I can be social if I have to, and I can do jiu-jitsu, and I did win a gold medal in jiu-jitsu, but I'm not really like good at jiu-jitsu. And I'm generally not fun, but I can do improv acting. If I try, I can do it not that bad. So basically, like, there's these like labels, and like even though I'm not a label, there's certain labels that might be more appropriate than others, but like just basically like not all the time. So for like there's certain things that are bad, but they're not that bad. I can do them okay. And then there's certain things that are like pretty good. And so, but in terms of like how I present myself to the world, I should probably like tend to emphasize the good and minimize the bad. So in terms of like labels, we don't fit into like absolutes, and so it's good to remember like not all the time, like you're not always that bad thing. But in terms of like how we present ourselves to the world, it's probably good to like emphasize the good and minimize the bad, or like generally try to mostly feature the good, focus on the good, minimize the bad, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very wise and socially intelligent way to navigate the world. You're right on point.
Can you rephrase that in like a really simple and short, easy to understand way?
Okay, here's a really short and simple rephrasing. Remember, you're not always your bad moments. Show your goods.
I don't know, but I'll just understand that. So basically, that's the gist of what I'm trying to do. Is like, yeah, you're not absolutes. You don't fit into label, but in terms of like how you present yourself to the world, emphasize the good, minimize the bad. So like, just basically spend more time doing and thinking. Spend more time and thought on your good stuff, and spend less time and thought on your bad stuff. And you're not always bad at the bad. That's the gist of it. That is, so if somebody says like you're bad, so if somebody said, if voice in my head or voice in my mouth says you're bad, just be like, not all the time necessarily. I can do that bad thing sometimes, but why do it like fucking all the time? Yeah. Okay. So done. I'm done saying this shit. So I got it all figured out. So yeah, there's not absolutes. I don't fit into labels all the time. But in terms of how I present myself to the world, I should probably emphasize the good, minimize the bad, spend more time and thought on your good stuff and less on your bad stuff. Not always bad. So if a voice in my head or a voice from the outside, if a voice in my head or a voice from the outside world says you're bad, you're some kind of bad label, I can always say like, not all the time. Sometimes I do good in that, but I don't want to waste a ton of time on that bad thing. That's it. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good. But I can do a little on it sometimes. All right. So yeah. But I can and will do a little of the sometimes. That's a good approach and quote, right?
Yes, that's a very healthy and realistic approach. It's a concise and effective way to manage negative labeling and self-talk. To put it succinctly, yes, that, not all the time, sometimes I do good in that, with a limit on dwelling on the negative, while acknowledging occasional imperfections, is a good and balanced approach. It incorporates
So, a voice in my head or voice from the outside says, if a voice in my head or a voice from the outside world says, you're a bad label, I say, not all the time necessarily. Sometimes I do good in that, but I don't want to waste a ton of time at it. But I can and will do a little bad. A little bad sometimes. So let's do that. Let's do that. So I'm spending too much time on the bad, but I want to do like a little bad stuff sometimes. So I'm gonna do karaoke. Why? Because I'm okay. I can do like a little bad sometimes. Just don't spend a ton of time on it, and mostly focus on the good. Just make sure you do most of the good. Yeah. All right, that's it. All right, so I'll do it. I'll get back to doing like 6 to 8 hours good. But let me do like a little bad stuff sometimes. What the fuck? Don't get baited. Don't get baited into doing too much bad by other people. Careful not to get by what showing off for other people. Careful not to get baited into doing too much bad by wanting to show off for other people. Good to do right too, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very important point to add to the guidance. You could say, and be...
Right, so sometimes I do that. I'll be like, I'll show you I can do something I'm not good at. And like, yeah, you can, but like, it's not really going to be that good. And so, alright, so, but I can do a little bad, but don't do it too much because it's not good. It's not that good. You know, it's not terrible, but it's not that good. Alright, so we said it over and over.
Arm & Hammer hardball litter. How hard is it? Crazy hard. No mess scoops.
Hey, you gotta check this.
Hey, what the fuck? Where's my playlist? Oh, right. They, Anyway, what do you want to sing? I want to sing, Also, know that you're not good. Like, when I sing this, I'm not going to think like, I'm so good. This is not good. I know it's not good, but I can do a little bad sometimes. The snow glows white on the mountain tonight. Not a footprint to be seen. Try it though. Try it anyway. Of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. Wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in. Heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in. Don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Can see it, don't feel. Don't let them. Actually, if we're gonna sing a song, let's sing a song that like what's a song you're actually kind of good at? If you were gonna sing a karaoke song that like is they're all, none of them are really that good. What's the one that's like more good than the others? I think Summertime. Summertime is like my most good. Just sing. Actually, I want to sing. What do you really feel like singing? I want to sing Let It Go. Snow glows wide on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. Kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I've tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, let it go. Turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Here's another thing you want to do also is like it's funny how some distance makes everything seem small, and fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. I'm not really having fun with this song. What's a song that you really feel like singing? I do feel like singing this. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Let it go, let it go. I'm one with the wind and sky. Let it go, let it go. You'll never see me cry. Here I stand, in the here I'll stay. Let the storm rage on. My power flurries through the air into the ground. My soul is spiraling in frozen fractals all around. And one thought crystallizes like an icy blast. I'm never going back. The past is in the past. Let it go, let it go. And I'll rise like the break of dawn. Let it go, let it go. That perfect girl is gone. Here I stand in the light of day. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. Now, what was I saying? Well, I don't know. Basically, I'm there's this little voice in my head that said like, what's the voice in my head saying? The voice in my head is saying like, don't make it seem like if you're live streaming, don't make it seem like you're gay. Acknowledge that you're like a 45-year-old man, you're a heterosexual man, and you're not even like sexually viable anymore anyway. So basically, like, don't make the mistake of don't think to yourself. I'm trying to think about like basically I'm trying to correct some mistakes that I've made in the time that I've been live streaming. First of all, acknowledge that like at any given moment, a 4-year-old kid could be watching you. And so just pretend that whatever you're doing, there could be like a 3-year-old child or 4-year-old child watching you with a parent behind them saying like, don't look at that fucking, don't talk to that creepy person. So don't do anything that wouldn't, you should write that down. It's basically like, don't do anything that would be inappropriate if a child and their parent were watching. Yeah. Let's put that down on Spiel. It's like, don't do anything. If you're going to live on live stream, avoid anything a parent or a parent, a 4-year-old with their parent would so just pretend at any given moment a 4-year-old with their parent could be watching and say like, do you really want to do that? Also, what I want to say is like, I'm a 45-year-old, not hot, not gay. I'm a 40-year-old, not hot and not gay. Man who is not trying to appeal to young women, and I don't even have a job, and I'm 45 years old. What does that mean? Basically, like, if I live stream, there's a temptation to like to try to like show off to like young women. Don't do that. And then there's like a temptation to think like maybe there's some gay person watching, and so like don't do some sort of like I'm like you, like I like gay stuff, I want to relate to gay people. Don't do that. And don't think like maybe some gay people are watching, and so I should like flex my muscles. Yeah, don't think don't appeal. Don't try to appeal. Don't try to appeal to young women. Avoid that. Avoid that trap. Don't fancy yourself better or worse than you are, and just what else? Just don't seem like maybe I'm gay or something like that. Don't think like don't think gay people might be watching, so I should seem like I should seem like I might be gay. I'm not, and I'm not. I'm a 45-year-old straight unemployed and not hot man. That's the gist of it. That's really all I really need to say is I'm a 45-year-old straight unemployed and not you could say not super hot. Yeah, that would also be true. It might be more accurate to say not hot, but just to be nice to myself, let's say I'm a 45-year-old straight unemployed and not super attractive. Not super attractive. Man, you can say that. I can say that for sure. I'm not a super attractive man. Let's be nice, but basically I have to like tell myself that because there's a tempt. I should tell myself that because there's temptation, because tempted to show off, tempted to delude and show off. So basically that's the thing, is like if I'm doing this, there's kind of a fun thing in like showing off, but stay grounded. Stay grounded. Acknowledge off camera persona slash real self, real-ish. So what's the point? So I basically, I've been saying for like a long time, like, there's no real you. You can just do anything you can physically do. Yeah, but like, there's like natural tendencies and stuff. So basically, like, I should just basically, no matter what I do in here, I should basically just make it clear to myself and occasionally just remind myself and maybe even remind others that, like, I'm like a 45-year-old straight, not super attractive guy who's kind of boring, and really, like, I don't even really talk off camera, and I don't even really socialize off camera, and I'm kind of like a boring, like, lame-o art guy. I'm like a boring art guy. What's the point? Yeah, just don't be fooled. I'm doing this as kind of like fun, but really, like, if I wasn't live streaming, I wouldn't even be singing. I don't even really like singing off camera. If I wasn't live streaming, I wouldn't sing. I wouldn't talk hardly at all, and I wouldn't do improv acting probably, and I wouldn't really, would I? I don't know. Basically, like, I would mostly just do art in silence if I wasn't live streaming. So just don't resist the temptation to, like, do all this, like, show off shit. I wouldn't even be I'm not even like a talker in real life. Yeah. Okay. So just keep it real. Keep it real. Don't get like delusional, and don't get delusional. Don't try to be deceptive. Don't get delusional. Don't get deceptive with yourself or others. It's a natural tendency on social media. Can you substantiate that? Yeah, for most people, it's good to not be for most people, it's not good to be deceptive about your natural strengths and weaknesses, or just not be deceptive about, like, who you are or something like that. And but it can be sort of a tendency to be deceptive with yourself or others a little bit, as to, like, who you are on social media, right? That's like just kind of a natural, somewhat forgivable tendency.
You're touching on a really interesting and complex area of human behavior, especially in the context of social media. Let's break it down. Deception about natural strengths and weaknesses. You're right, being deceptive about your fundamental strengths and weaknesses in real-world interactions, especially in profession.
So my previous statement could be true, right?
Yes, your previous statement is generally true. The tendency to present a slightly deceptive or idealized version of oneself on social media, especially in contrast to being more authentic about strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was trying to, like, delude myself, and I was like, I can become, like, really good in a way that I'm not really good. And so I don't know. Maybe not. So just basically tendency to present a slightly deceptive or idealized version of oneself on social media, especially in contrast to being more authentic about strengths and weaknesses in real life interactions, is a common and somewhat understandable phenomenon. And it's kind of bad for you and others somewhat. It can, like, if your whole lifestyle becomes based around it, it can be kind of bad for you and others. What do you think? Just basically, like, if it can just be careful. It can get kind of out of hand. Anyway, that's it. Okay, done. All right. Okay, all right. We've said it over and over and over. Now what? I want to play with my dog.
From Marvel Studios.
The Avengers are coming. The sets today.
Host.
I can get my, the weird thing though is like I can get myself to, like, if I think people might watch this, I can get myself to do things that I wouldn't do if I wasn't on camera, and that's a like really weird thing. Is like, what am I saying? Just basically like probably no one's watching this, but if somebody's watching this, if I make this video, I can get myself to play with my dog, and when I play with my dog, it is inauthentic. Like if I wasn't on camera, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't play with my dog, but it's still good for my dog. Like if I play with my dog, like basically like I've done this ritual for like a year where like I'll think to myself like maybe young women could be watching this, and so there's probably some kind of subconscious thing in my animalistic brain that says like, oh, like women could be watching. You should show them like how potentially good of a father figure. Like let's demonstrate some like look, I could potentially be good with kids. And that's probably why it's motivating to like spend like quality time with my dog. And I wouldn't do this. Like if I was not on camera, I would not like play with my dog like this. Like I'm not this type of person. Like really, I would just go, basically I'm not like as playful or fun as I seem like on a camera when I think somebody could be watching. Nonetheless, if it makes my dog happy and if it gives me some like energy, then I'm gonna do it anyway. What am I trying to say? Basically that's what I'm trying to say. It's like dude, I don't like this fucking mustache. I do like the mustache. I don't know, dude, I'm really like confused. Anyway, what do you think, Sean? Basically I'm gonna play this thing. I'm gonna run around with my dog. It is deceptive. I'm not fun. Nonetheless, it will make my dog's tail wag and it will make me feel good. But it is fake. It is fake, and I wouldn't even do it if I wasn't live streaming. I wouldn't even. I don't even do this if I'm. There's a bunch of things I do on live stream I wouldn't even do if no one was watching. Nonetheless, if they feel good and they make my dog feel good, I'm just gonna do it. But it's all fake. It's all bullshit.
movie?
The biggest names in entertainment are together like never before. From timeless classics to the stories you love. The biggest originals you won't find anywhere else. And hit movies and iconic series for every mood. Get all three for an incredible price, with or without ads. Sign up now. Plans start at just $16.99 a month.
Alright, so I feel good. I know this is like ridiculous, and I'm a ridiculous, but I'm gonna keep my ridiculous localized. So I'm not gonna I'm never gonna make any more videos on any forum where a potential employer could watch me, unless they know my kick site, but I think that's unlikely. And then what? Then I'm just gonna I'm gonna minimize the ridiculousness. But I think a little ridiculousness is good, just to feel alive and not get depressed, because I don't have like a family or like friends or anything like that. And so, what do you think, Sean? Yeah, just keep it in check. Okay, sounds good.